All right, people, we are back with our year-end awards, the TWitWoW Awards, third annual. On our last chunk of this commentary, which is even more massive than I originally planned, we talked about how amazing Tetsuya Naito is, and that he's the heel of the year. So let's talk about then, on the flip side of that, face of the year. And John, I want you to go first for this because we had the same heel of the year for Naito, and I went first for promo of the year before that. So go ahead. Who was your face of the year?
Face of the year, Prince Puma.
Ah,
I
I
loved
won't
his
deny
first
that at all.
season. Yeah, wait, what was that?
I won't deny that at all.
Yeah, he had a great 2015. I mean, he was the champion, a dominant champion. I loved his stories. Sometimes the certain title events, the whole feud with Mundo was excellent, and then the whole Mil Muerte storyline, and even losing Conan. I liked how the Go Home Lucha Underground before Ultima Lucha, he took out the Disciples of Death and even hit a 630 on Mil Muertes and just stood tall like a boss.
Yep.
I mean, this guy really is what a babyface should be. He's not cheesy, but he's admirable. He's not weak, but he does have his down moments, and he can be strong,
He's not a
really strong.
superhero, but he's still somebody that you wish you could live vicariously through.
Exactly. He walks that line perfectly. He really is what a pro wrestling babyface in 2015 should be, and that's all I'm going to say about Prince Puma, because, I mean, you guys could go back. You should go back, watch season 1, and see this man's rise. It's
God damn
amazing.
it.
Yeah, god damn it.
My face of the year is Bailey. See,
Excellent choice.
I wanted to point this out too because there are probably some people that noticed that our worst heel of the year and our worst face of the year were both monopolized by women. It's not that we hate women wrestlers. We don't. We just hate those specific women wrestlers. Face of the year, though, Bailey, in my opinion, was the best face in wrestling this year. And I mean, I feel like this is kind of self-explanatory. Like, she is the most beloved entity in probably, like, if you look at the percentage of people that know who she is compared to the percentage of people that adore her, that's got to be the highest ratio to anyone in probably the world of wrestling.
Oh my goodness, yeah. I mean, nobody I think could contend your pick. I mean, Bailey had such a phenomenal year this year. I just got done saying earlier, when Bailey was in conversation, she could be just the top babyface, period. No,
Yeah.
no gender differentiation needed
Well,
of
and
any
she
wrestling
was. That's
company.
what I'm saying. She is my
Yeah,
face of the year. Like, there's no,
right.
we didn't differentiate male face of the year, female face. No, it's just Bailey. She's just that
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, she's just that good. So yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you, and there's really nothing I could add to the conversation
Yeah.
because anybody, it's Bailey. So I mean, there
Oh,
you
sure.
go.
Now we start moving quickly through these things.
Well, when you make it that easy, man, I mean, who's gonna deny it? Bailey's awesome.
All right, so now let's move on then. Main roster, and this is another one. Last year we had a Rookie of the Year award that we really couldn't decide if we wanted to give it to somebody that had just debuted on the main roster or somebody that had just debuted in NXT, even though they had been on the Indies for a while, or even just like an actual like first year wrestler that we just thought was impressive or something like that. So what we decided to do was we split the award into two. We have the main roster rookie of the year, which is somebody that has never been on the main roster before, who was debuted on the main roster this year and had a great year. And then we had the revelation of the year, which is the not necessarily a person who was a rookie. We called it revelation of the year because it was our personal first year of being exposed to the talent, and we want to highlight that it was amazing, at least in our opinion.
Right. And I
So
love that we made that differentiation because I think it made for, two great picks on mine, and I'm sure yours as well. So, I
my main
believe,
roster
yeah,
rookie of the year, I'm going first on this one, is Kevin Owens.
awesome. Awesome. I mean, again, what more can you say about it? Beat John Cena in his debut match, had a great program with him.
And really, even
Yeah.
if you don't even want to talk about credentials because they're kayfabe, just the entertainment factor from Owens.
Well, I mean, yeah, every time he's on TV, like, you're guaranteed to get something good.
And I'm
And,
glad we
yeah.
waited until the end of the year to do this too, because now we can talk about how awesome his Raw segment was with him destroying everyone.
I know, right? I was waiting for him to go off, and it was so satisfying.
It was.
Like, it's amazing because I've even told you in conversation multiple times, and I think it's really going to bloom going into the new year and having that clean slate, how much of a Kevin Owens mark I have become. You know, like it's just amazing how much I love the guy, and yet I feel like you're giving him, and deservedly so, far more credit in these awards than I have. It's crazy, but yeah, I love that you picked him, dude. My main roster rookie of the year, Neville. You know, it's a bit more of a controversial pick, I think, because he really has tampered off to close out the year. But man, his start was so hot
But
and
John,
just so good.
Kevin Owens is the main roster rookie of the year.
You know what? I don't
This
want
is
him
crap.
to. I don't want him to powerbomb me through an announce table, so I'll just kind of whimper away and give him the award. But Neville, man, he had such high hopes at the beginning of the year. And like I think that's what really stuck with me. Like he took John Cena to the limit, even though Kevin Owens actually beat John Cena straight up.
I do want to
Took
toss a name out here though, John, that
yeah,
we didn't mention between the two of us, and that I think deserves a lot more credit than he gets.
okay.
Can you guess who I'm thinking of?
No, I can't.
Braun Strowman.
Oh, dude, yes.
The
Oh my god.
only main roster rookie that was never in NXT before, unless you count his appearance as the bronze Roman gladiator for Adam Rose's, party that he had.
Right. Yeah, that's an excellent pick. Yeah, he's the only one that WWE really hasn't screwed with either.
Yeah. Yet.
You know,
Well, unless
yeah,
you count
yet.
Taker and Kane putting him through the announce table.
Well, yeah, but that was like two men double. I could forgive it tentatively, but
Yeah.
compared to like
Very,
the other
very
guys,
tentatively.
yeah. But yeah, it's a great pick. But yeah, I mean Neville had a very interesting year. I mean, took Rollins to the limit, took Cena to the limit, and I still think he can bounce back. He's that guy that the moment you stop like fooling around and getting serious, he can take care of the rest. But
Yeah.
I love your pick of Kevin Owens. So yeah, great main roster rookies of the year on both end, I
And
think.
that makes me even happier that we split this up because we had two awesome main roster rookies of the year. And now I can't wait to find out who your revelation of the year was. And I think I have an idea of who it might be, but I just want to hear it.
I am so honored to give it to this guy because he is amazing. My revelation of the year is Pentagon Jr.
Yes.
I have to say too,
Yes.
and this is probably the only praise I'm going to give to AAA in this video. Thank you for being you and screwing up,
Yeah.
because Lucha Underground got to take the reins and bring out the star in this guy.
Lucha Underground was like, we want Drago, we want Phoenix, and we want Pentagon. And AAA was like, well, I mean, I get Phoenix, but why would you want those other two? They suck.
And look what they did,
Yeah.
especially with keeping it on point, Pentagon here.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, his story of wanting to get to that next level and wanting to find somebody that can take him there was amazing. And this whole dark streak that he had, breaking people's arms, like, I am so glad. And really, I gotta thank Ashton too, because he heard about Lucha Underground. He's like, man, we gotta get on this. We gotta watch this. I'm like, sure, I'm open to it. And I think you even told me, you said, John Morrison's on it, and he was, of course, Johnny Mundo.
Yeah.
And
That
if
was the
we had,
selling point for you. For me,
yeah,
I watched episode one because it was linked on Reddit, and I was like, oh, new wrestling, I'll check it out. And then I watched it, and it was so different. And then I was like,
yeah,
okay, I got to get John in on this. And we rewatched episode one, so that was actually my second time watching it. And then we watched episode two as it happened and reviewed it afterwards.
I'm just so glad it wasn't one of those instances where he had to take me kicking his, because this man's very persuasive. People, he got me to watch the Harry Potter series because before I wouldn't have even touched the stuff. So he could convince me to do quite a lot of things. And
And
yeah,
not only did I get you to watch it, but I got you to enjoy it too.
yeah. So I mean, I don't know why this guy never
I
worked in
mean, even
advertising.
I'm willing to admit that those first two movies are a struggle to get through.
Yeah, definitely. But keeping it on task, I'm so glad we saw Lucha Underground because then we got to see Pentagon.
Yeah.
And my God, you want to talk about a revelation? This is a goddamn epiphany, was what this was.
Yeah,
This man
yeah.
is amazing.
Dude, I feel like Lucha Underground could be like our revelation of the year.
Yeah, honestly, I should have pulled a you and gotten clever and said Lucha
Yeah,
Underground was my revelation of the year.
there were so many guys that they introduced us to that we fell in love with. Like, even Vampiro, I feel like is almost like a revelation because, like, before this year, we had maybe heard of him or seen like clips of him with his feud with Sting and WCW. But as a commentator, he's awesome. And then the ultra violent style that we saw in the Cero Miedo match, oh my God. And then, of course, Pentagon and guys that we've never seen before, like Phoenix and Drago and Aerostar, Angelico, and then guys that we had heard of but hadn't really seen much of, like Jack Evans and Son of Havoc, formerly known as M Dog 20. Like, so much great, and Ivelisse is another one. So much great stuff came out of Lucha Underground that really was revelatory for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm telling you, I could kiss that promotion on the mouth if it had one. And Pentagon,
If it had one, if only.
it's so crazy because
You still
Pentagon.
have? Do you still have your Lucha Underground bumper sticker? Because those have mouths.
Damn right I do. I have both of those stickers like hanging up on my wall. I'm looking at them right now as I'm talking to you, and we're doing this.
I have one
And
of
like,
them literally just sitting on my computer right now, and the other one is actually on the bumper of my car.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
That is advertising right there.
That's right.
And what's
That's the
crazy
goal.
about
That is the goal, my friend. Everywhere I go, I wear it proudly. I even wear my Lucha Underground shirt like once or twice a month at least.
what's crazy about Pentagon 2, and then I'm really curious to hear yours after this discussion, but what's crazy about Pentagon 2 for winning this, his style of wrestling, I guess it really just kind of shows how I've like changed and kind of matured. Would never have really resonated with me, I think, a few years ago. And just the idea that we both meet up at this point in time
Yeah.
is just amazing. So thank you, Pentagon. Thank you, AAA, for being stupid, and thank you, Lucha Underground, for being Lucha Underground.
That's
So,
right. That's
Ash,
right. Yes.
Ashton, who is your revelation of the year, the bud? Because I am dying to know
Dude,
who you picked.
this was so difficult for me because between Lucha Underground and New Japan, both of which we've really got our first big exposure to this year, I wanted so bad to give this to either Tetsuya Naito or Katsuyori Shibata. Those guys blew my mind. And especially Naito when he turned heel, but Shibata's intensity, like those two guys actually leapfrogged Nakamura as my favorite guys in New Japan.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that, and I was floored. Because I remember you being like, I think you still are, but like a huge Shinsuke Nakamura fan. But to know that these guys had a body of work that you're like, nah, man, I gotta give credit where credit's due. They've kind of vaulted over was just unbelievable to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And that it makes it really difficult not to give it to one of those guys. But then we watched PWG Bola.
Oh my god, I know where this is going.
And Zack Sabre Jr. was the really obvious choice here because he's incredible and he's got the catch as catch can thing going on. But that's just kind of the style that you're trained to wrestle in the UK. Like that's not even necessarily just a Zack Sabre Jr. thing. That's a UK thing. And there's a lot of that kind of stuff, and he's just more kind of all about doing that kind of stuff in his matches and kind of surrounding his matches with that. But to me, my personal revelation of the year was Timothy Thatcher.
Yes. Yes, I knew it. The moment you said PWG, I'm like, because you have really grown to love Timothy Thatcher as we close this year out.
And the thing is, he's never going to be a star in WWE because he's one of the worst talkers I've ever heard. I'm
Well,
serious. Like I've heard him cut promos, I've heard him have interviews, and he like there's this weird thing where like he kind of sounds like a white guy, almost like halfway, like half-ass trying to do a British accent, and it doesn't work at all.
right.
But I think that might just be the way he talks. Like I don't even know if that's him being a gimmick or anything. Like I think that might just be how he talks. But regardless of the way he talks, when that man steps between those ropes, there has never in my life been a wrestler, a professional wrestler, that when they step in between those ropes make me forget that I'm watching a work.
Yeah.
And
Just
Timothy
that
Thatcher
good.
does that to me. Timothy Thatcher, when he gets in that ring, I forget that it's a work and I get so invested in these matches. I start breaking it down like it's a freaking real fight. Like I start like, oh, Thatcher needs to like grab the leg here so we can get a heel hook going on or something like that. I actually like it makes my mind work in a different way than anybody else that I've ever seen wrestle.
Right, that's amazing. Because I think that goes even further beyond suspension of disbelief, and you're trying to impose strategy in a forum where strategy really isn't even a thing.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
that's what Thatcher's in-ring style does to me. Like his match with Chris Hero, Bola Night 2, we already talked about it, but like that was my revelation right there. It was like, oh my god, this guy is incredible, and uh, I don't even know how to explain it because the fact that he is kind of like this. And the crazy thing too is that like he's missing a bunch of teeth that he's not even bothering to try and get fixed. So he has a completely opposite look to what you would expect from a WWE guy. Like WWE's biggest stars tend to be guys with like male model type good looks, right?
Right.
Well, Thatcher might maybe be a contender for that if he keeps his mouth shut. But as soon as he starts talking, first of all, he's not a good talker, and second of all, he's got the screwed up teeth going on. So he's not that type at all. But the in ring work with this guy is just flawless to me. And the crazy thing too, and I haven't actually seen it yet because I have no idea how to find it. Apparently, he had a match with Chris Hero at an Evolve show earlier this year. They got 5 stars from Meltzer.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I'm so glad you picked him. I'm going to have to keep a closer eye on him going into 2016.
Yeah, that's why
Uh,
he's my revelation because this is my first year that I feel like I really need to go out of my way to find this guy's stuff.
yeah, definitely, dude. That makes two of us after yourself because just your enthusiasm and everything is infectious. You really conveyed that to me. And yeah, just two great picks for Revelation of the Year. I'm so glad this became a category for that purpose because, yeah,
Yeah.
Pentagon and Timothy Thatcher, man, amazing people.
All right, let's move on. Face turn of the year. Mine was a really easy pick in my opinion. Brock Lesnar destroys the Raw set and F5's Michael Cole.
Loved it. Loved everything about it. And nobody even had the balls to arrest Brock Lesnar for homicide, even though they had totally justifiable grounds because he destroyed everyone. Great face turn. Nothing more I can say than that. My face turn, Son of Havoc dumps Evil East. Another Lucha Underground
Yes.
victory. I thought this was one of the.
What did he? I forget what he said because like every time I think back to it, I'm just like, why couldn't he just say "consider yourself dumb"? But he didn't say that.
Right, I think he just said, "You are dumped."
Yeah.
Drops mic, shooting star press, victory, embraces the people. Like, this is probably the most literal technical term because he literally goes to the people afterwards and he celebrates among them.
Yeah.
Like, if that's not saying, "Love me now, I'm one of you," I don't know what does. Like, this is
You
great.
love me. You really love me.
I just love that they did it like in the middle of a match too, because normally turns they happen like towards the tail end of one or this,
Or
that, and the
right
other.
before a match, maybe if it's like a promo.
Yeah, and it's like here he is, he's just perched on the top rope, and he's like, you know what? A heli goes down, he ain't going anywhere. Give me a mic, and he just does it like just amazing.
Yes.
So yeah, definitely easy for me. Face turn of the year.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, well, let's flip the coin now. What was your heel turn of the year?
Oh my God, yes! Johnny Mundo throws Patron through
Yeah.
a glass window.
I knew he was going to be on one of your awards here on this list at some point. It took
I
long enough, but this was
I've
so
been
worth it.
waiting for him to go heel again for
For
6 years.
I was going to say 5. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, 6 years. Lucha Underground
Wasn't he
gave
a
me.
heel on SmackDown in 2010 at some point?
I don't think he. No, 2010 he was a babyface because he was really starting to work
Wow.
up the card. I remember because I think he was part of the SmackDown Chamber that year, and he actually made it to the final three, and he was like that sympathetic babyface because he was in
Yeah.
there with Jericho and the
Wow.
Undertaker. So
6 years, dude. Holy
6 years.
crap.
And Lucha Underground gave me what I was begging WWE for. Not only for Mundo to be one of the top guys there, but to be a Rudo, to be a heel, and just seeing him take Patron's face and just smash it through that window. I still hope you're picking glass out of your eye, you piece of shit. Like, it was just absolutely incredible. It might even be unfair to call it heel turn of the year because look who he did it to. Look at me, people. Look at me with a straight face, and I dare you to have the balls to tell me Patron didn't deserve that. You can't. You know why? Because he did. So,
He
yeah,
totally
glass window
did
for the
too.
win.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, just so easy for me. This was amazing. But now I don't want to get too pressed on that. What was your heel turn of the year?
I kind of went a different direction with mine because your heel turn of the year was literally just the one moment that made the heel turn amazing. My heel turn of the year was more what it did for the career of the what the heel turn happened.
Right.
The New Day.
Oh, yes, dude.
Because when they were baby faces, it was absolute garbage. It got to the point after they turned heel that we didn't even feel comfortable just saying New Day is amazing because of how tainted they were from their face run, and we had to specify heel New Day.
Yeah, that's right. We did. And man, what a turn. It's almost like there were two completely different teams, after that.
Yeah.
just unbelievable. So yeah, I love
I
that
think
pick
that that
actually.
really did. It might have even saved the careers of all three of those guys, that heel turn.
Yeah, definitely, dude.
And it didn't
Without
even
question.
necessarily happen all at once. Like it was a gradual thing, but by the time it was over, they had gone from absolute garbage, borderline stereotype racist to still maybe still, borderline stereotype racist, but now they're insanely entertaining.
Exactly. No, I love that pick. That's great.
All right. Well, I mean, hey, if you're ready to move on, we can move on to most improved.
Yeah, most improved. Who do you got?
I think you're going to like this because my most improved is Emma.
Oh, I love you, and I love her. Come back to me. We can make it
Because
work.
at the beginning of the year, Emma was floundering. She didn't really have anything to do. I don't remember at what point she came back down to NXT and turned heel, but whenever it was, something clicked in her because she has been on a tear as a heel. Her viciousness in the ring has been turned up to 11. She's so much more aggressive, and her match with Asuka is easily, at least in my opinion, the best match of Emma's career so far. And that actually does mean a lot because she had some great matches with Paige, and especially the one match against Paige at NXT Arrival.
Yes, I'm so glad you picked her, dude. I completely agree. It's like a new life's been breathed into Emma. There was a point I was really concerned about her career because she was floundering on the main roster, and then who could, of course, forget the whole little shoplifting incident that she got mixed up in and all that stuff. I didn't even think she'd be on the roster much longer. So to know that not only does she still has a foothold in WWE and in NXT, but she's
Well,
having
I mean,
the best
technically,
time
she
of her
did get
career.
fired at one point
Yeah, she did, and then she got brought back. Just like give you a
because
second
of a
chance.
petition. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah,
Power to
that
the
fan
people.
support. Yeah. So really great. I love her. Like she's so adorable, so wonderful, so talented. That I'm just glad she's right where she needs to be because you know what, the main roster, I'm gonna say this: you don't deserve Emma. That's right. I said it. You
Yeah.
don't deserve her. So screw you and Emma,
You had
please.
your chance with Emma, and this is why you can't have nice things.
I feel like you're almost kind of talking to me there. Please give me one more
I
chance.
was talking to the main roster. I'm so sorry.
I know I have really deeply rooted insecurities, but in all seriousness, I love that you picked her. And I
I
think,
mean, I
because
would have insecurities too if I was dating somebody or married to somebody, and then after the divorce she went with Zack Ryder. That would be awful.
she could have gone with Mojo Rawley, though. That's what I tell myself to keep me
That's
from going
true.
to the
That
edge.
is true.
Yeah, like,
At least you picked the right hype bro.
exactly. And much like you said that you thought I would love yours, I hope, Ashton, that you love mine. I think you'll appreciate it. Mine, too, is from NXT and in the women's division. I picked Alexa Bliss as my most
Ah.
improved.
It's
I've
so funny. I for some reason I thought that you were going to pick Baron Corbin, and I actually had him as my most improved, and I changed it to Emma, thinking that you would pick him. And I don't know where the wires got crossed because he definitely deserves some recognition, but I do think that our picks improved more than he did this year.
definitely, we've been saying for so long, and I guess also maybe subconsciously I'm thinking, yeah,
Yeah,
one
this
final
is a
equal
self stroker.
yeah, this is one final self-start. Oh, get it in there for 2015 because we were just like, Alexa Bliss should turn heel. I felt a disconnect with her as a face. I didn't like to, and you even
Dude,
mentioned that was more of a heel tactic.
dude,
So
literally on her debut. On her debut, we were talking on that episode of NXT TWitWoW. She's not bad, but she has a lot of room to grow. And I think that she comes off as a little bit disingenuous, and she'd be better as a heel. We literally on her debut, we were saying that, and how right we were.
exactly, because dude, you were even saying it was a heel tactic anyway. When she came in, 90% of her repertoire was trying to go for quick pins.
Yep.
And like you were like, that's a heel thing. Like, why isn't she heel? I was reiterating, like, why isn't she heel? The
Mm-hmm.
moment she turned heel and aligned with Blake Murphy, because before that, because I think this is in the same year, because I know I've been constantly mixing up 2014, 2015. I think I'm right in saying this. Before she had her heel turn, because she had that little beef with Carmella and she aligned with Blake Murphy, she did have a brief kind of explosion as a face where she got in NXT Women's Championship contention and she had that match with Sasha, if you remember.
Yep.
But like, I couldn't get invested in that at all because Alexa Bliss was such a weak baby face at the time, and Sasha really carried that because she's just such a great personality.
Yep.
But you want to talk about personality? My God, Alexa Bliss let out her inner bitch with that turn.
The skeleton glove, the Freddy Krueger getup with the new attire,
The
the
Bliss
frickin'
slap.
changing changing from the blue highlights in her hair to the red and pink highlights in her hair, having the boys act as her freaking slave. Like, she might as well be Dalton Castle at this point, and Blake and Murphy are her boys because they do whatever she wants them to do. She is the boss of that operation.
Exactly. I mean, the segment where she not only screws the vaudevillains out of the NXT Tag Team titles, but then slaps the taste out of their mouths.
Yep.
And like the whole crowd saying like chivalry, chivalry, because they like no, they know the vaudevillains want to do something, but they don't. And then Alexa Bliss laughs in their faces afterwards, and they try and be good about it.
And what's great about this storyline, this is me being salty, when Alexa Bliss as a heel slaps the taste out of some babyface males' mouths,
Right.
you can also say that she got her comeuppance because of blue pants.
Exactly.
Stephanie McMahon, I'm looking at you.
Thank you, because God, that's really ticking me off anymore.
And that's the thing too, is like I've seen people actually complain about a female hitting a male and not expecting any kind of recourse from the male. To me, you don't need to have the dude do anything. I think that just what happened at NXT with Blue Pants getting revenge was enough.
That's all we're asking. I think people look at comeuppance like just one way. They're too myopic in their vision.
Yeah, like, oh, Stephanie McMahon slapped Tom Phillips. Now Tom Phillips needs to punch the shit out of her.
Yeah, exactly. Like, no, no. And I
It
look at
would be
Alexa.
nice though if like Alicia Fox, who spent over a year crushing on Tom Phillips on the app exclusives, would come to his defense and beat the hell out of Stephanie now.
And what a great moment that would be for an Alicia Fox. But then again, that requires effort. And, getting
And it
back
also
up.
requires for Stephanie to swallow her pride, which literally never happens.
Exactly. But you want to talk
Even
about.
even the whole Brie Bella feud was building up to Stephanie winning.
Exactly. Exactly. But you want to talk about putting in effort. Like Alexa Bliss has put her back into this heel role. And honestly, even though I still feel like, in my opinion, she's one of the weaker women on NXT, I think her heel character's so good. And she was listening to this. I would want her to take it as a compliment. Like, if she was to go to the main roster, I could buy her as Divas Champion with this
Yeah.
heel gimmick. I
Yeah.
could. I really
Especially
could.
if she keeps Blake and Murphy around, because they could be like the ultimate equalizers. If any, like if just for example, say Charlotte comes out with her daddy, Blake and Murphy beat the shit out of an old man and get heat for that, and Alexa beats Charlotte.
Yeah, I mean, the promo she had against Bayley, leading up to their match, I thought was great, where she took the belt and did the fake out. So
Yeah,
Alexa Bliss has done a complete 180. This is where she belongs. She was always meant to be heel, and I'm just so glad she finally got here so we could all enjoy her. Just
absolutely.
amazing.
She never needs to be face again
Absolutely not.
because it's so, like we said earlier, disingenuous.
Exactly.
All right, so now, John, who is your best talker 2015?
Again, it might surprise people given that I say one thing and do another. This didn't go to Kevin Owens. This went to Seth Rollins. I picked Seth Rollins, you know what? Because I feel like he was able to make quality promos out of shit situations, and I think that
Yes,
maybe give
I
him
I
that.
completely see where you're coming from here, man. Because with Kevin Owens, he gets to talk for maybe 5 minutes, maybe once a month, and Seth Rollins was given the job of talking for 15 minutes 4 times a month.
Exactly. And not only that, let's be fair here. Kevin Owens really did. When you look at the caliber of people he worked with, quality feuds, a lot of people like to dump on Rollins and the people he worked with this year. And yet I still feel like he was able to make quality promos again out of crappy situations.
Yeah, I
Whether,
definitely
yeah,
see that, man. Yeah,
yeah.
that's a great pick.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, Seth. And it's crazy that he's my best talker because one thing we all like to talk about, this guy was horrible in Ring of Honor on the mic. Like,
Was
this was the guy, guys, when I was still trying to learn, like, play by play, and I had guys on the indie scene. I had one guy really trying to, like, teach me the ins and outs because I was really into it at the time. He used Rollins as an example of the types of promos that he hates. I think it was a promo where he used the phrase, I never, and I mean never, like he repeated himself, and for whatever reason, my friend hated that. So to know that Rollins goes from being the example of what somebody uses when they want to describe promos they hate to being the best talker on my list. I mean, this guy, you want to talk about developmental doing its job and getting people ready. Seth Rollins is a freaking star. I still miss him. I feel like he can't get back here quick enough. It almost pained me to see him at the Slammies. I feel like they would have just been better keeping him off TV, period, until he was ready to make the big comeback because you gave me something and only to take it away again because he's still got so much rehab to go through. But Rollins' title reign may have been rough, but screw everybody that wants to crap on it. I think he was the best talker of the year, and he made it work. He is a beast.
And all that amazing explanation and you making all the sense in the world, I'm going to take the easy way out. My best talker is Kevin Owens.
And there you go. And I can't blame you.
Yeah.
I can't blame you though.
He had a
Kevin
lot
Owens.
of really quality promos. I was actually, before I stumbled upon the I don't need help promo that Rollins cut to the Authority, I had Owens chalked up as my promo of the year for his promo that he cut on Cena on his debut, talking about how, I've been doing this for 14 years, and the only reason that I haven't been here is because I didn't get my break until just recently. And how you don't get to give me veteran advice and all that stuff. Like, that was great stuff, but that was just a drop in the bucket for Kevin Owens because he had so many other great promos. And the one that he cut on Full Sail, I will agree, was definitely the highlight of the year so far.
Oh
I
my
should
goodness, yeah.
so far. It's the last day of the year. I'm a moron.
You know what though? It's funny because you have Kevin Owens as target there. I have Seth. I have a Kevin Owens promo. Well, I actually, well, that was Kevin Owens promo for my promo of the year, and then you had Seth for your promo of the year. So it's weird how that works out.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I completely agree with everything you're saying. I'm picking up everything you're laying down. I don't think it's the easy way out at all. I think it's proper recognition for a great talent. I just think Seth. I almost feel bad for Seth for how many people crapped on his title reign, even though they always would qualify. It's the booking. It's not Seth.
Right.
Still is a crappy position to be in.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just
And
wanted
I
to give
even
you
almost
recognition.
had Seth as my worst heel of the year because, like, at a certain point, you got to just stop booing the guy and appreciate how good he is.
And if for nothing else, that cackle though, that Seth Rollins, yes, I miss it so much. The first time he does it when he comes back and he's healthy, I'm gonna lose my shit.
Just think, John,
So,
you only have to wait another 5 or 6 months for him,
oh god, that sounds so long.
or maybe 7 or 8. I don't know.
But yeah, best talker easily Seth Rollins.
Kevin Owens, but yeah. Um, so pop of the year is our next category, and I guess I'll go first for this one, even though I was kind of hoping to create a little more anticipation for mine. My pop of the year was when Hideo Itami finally, after months of teasing it, hit the GTS on Tyler Breeze at NXT in San Jose.
Brilliant pick. Yeah, they were waiting for that for so long.
Yep.
And I heard the recording that day. They exploded. It's like finally it felt so good to let that out.
And
Yeah,
the great thing
completely
too
agree.
was the way that he built up to it because he had Breeze down. He was doing the chest kicks. He had Breeze down, and he did. I love too. He did the one gut kick while Breeze was on his feet, and the way Breeze sells it, where he just jumps up in the air and lands flat on his face, is amazing. But he rolled the knee pad down and pointed to it, and it got the crowd so into it. And then he gets Breeze up on his shoulders, and the crowd's losing their mind, and he actually connects with it. And this place, like you said, John, it exploded, and it was amazing. And that was my pop of the year. So, what was your pop of the year?
My pop of the year, Bailey wins the NXT Women's Championship.
Yeah, that's kind of self-explanatory, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Brooklyn, I think the match was so great. They got so into it that when Bailey finally hit her finisher, for the final time, getting that 3 count, the place just erupted. The post match segment was very emotional. Yeah, Bailey has to get pop of the year because, again, we've been talking about this commentary, just what an amazing baby face she is. I think it only makes sense that she gets pop of the year. So, yeah, Bailey wins the NXT Women's Championship.
NXT had the opportunity to create another moment like this in London with Enzo and Cass. Just saying.
Yeah, they really did, dude. And I think you know what? Honestly, if they did, that could have edged this out.
Yeah,
I really believe
that
that.
could have edged both of ours out, honestly.
Yeah, definitely.
How great is it though that the crowd reactions of the year for us so far have been NXT only?
Yeah, that's so true. That's a Full Sail, and just all the other places that have gotten to taste NXT have been
Brooklyn and
wonderful.
London, yeah.
Yeah, London really put their back into it, man.
I
Kudos to
was
them.
even gonna say I feel like the pop of the year could be even just like Jordan and Gable throughout that entire match.
Yeah, really. Unbelievable.
What was your upset of the year, John? That's our next category. Why don't you tell me?
Uh Toriano beat Shibata at G1
Oh,
Climax.
beat Shibata. I thought you were gonna talk about all the times he beat Tanahashi.
Which, I mean, I want to laugh at Tanahashi, but I never really personally witnessed those matches because that was you giving me a history lesson. The one time
Well,
I
those
saw,
happened this year though.
yeah, well, I mean, the one time I remember Toriano really getting in the ring with Tanahashi, Tanahashi won that match, which was
That
unfortunate.
was in G1. Yeah,
Yeah,
Toriano. I think Toriano had like 3 victories over Tanahashi, and they were like quick hiccup victories too, where it was like head meets turnbuckle meets roll up meets 3 count kind of thing.
Well, that was kind of what happened here. I think Shibata missed a kick, and he either got low blowed and then rolled up, or just plain rolled up,
No, it
and
was
that
just
was
a
enough.
roll up. I don't think that there was a low blow involved. It was just a really tight small package, I think.
And I just thought it was an upset because, I mean, look at these two. Toriano is
Yeah.
like very heelish comedy, and Shibata plays it straight. He's vicious, he's aggressive, and he gets caught. And like we would be saying that a lot about Shibata and his G1 Climax experience, but none more painful, I think, than this. This is my upset of the year.
Yeah, that's a great pick. My upset of the year. Some people might argue that this wasn't an upset because of the sort of the status of both people, but to me, upset of the year can also be about David and Goliath battles that should never actually go in the way of David, that do. And in this case, Bailey versus Nia Jax is my upset of the year because the fact that, first of all, the only reason Bailey didn't lose this match is because Nia Jax kept on going for obnoxious cocky pins. And then the fact that Bailey couldn't, they didn't even show her attempting to hit a Bailey to belly on Nia Jax. She won with a guillotine.
Yeah, had to pull out a submission hold. I mean, that's another time we've seen Bailey go to submissions. I mean, we saw her win the final decision at
Against
NXT
Sasha.
Takeover
Yep.
Respect in that Iron match. Yeah, with a submission and now the guillotine here at London. So I completely agree because I think we all had pegged, Bailey dropping the NXT Women's Championship and then Nia really going on that dominant run. But Bailey, I mean, she has a tight hold on that NXT Women's Championship. And yeah, great choice for upset of the year.
All right, our next category then is gimmick of the year, and I am just I'm marking out over my own pick here because my gimmick of the year is Mil Muertes.
Excellent.
Because when you can talk about gimmicks and the Undertaker and Prince Puma maybe even like there are Pentagon Junior is a great pick, but there are so many gimmicks out there that and like last year I feel like our gimmick of the year was Bray Wyatt, the bearded cultist lives in a swamp and that kind of thing. When you can say that my gimmick of the year is literally death, like how does one up that?
Right. No, you're absolutely right, my friend. Emil Muertes is amazing. I love the backstory. I love the look. I love the
Yeah.
booking.
And
Like,
that's the crazy thing, like the backstory that they gave him. Pascual Mendoza. I'll never forget that name now.
yeah. Yeah, it's a name that kind of burns itself in your brain.
Pascual
I
Mendoza's dead. That's the thing. He is dead. This is Mil Muertes now. He's been revived as Mil Muertes. So Pascual is no longer.
exactly. Mil Muertes stripped of all of his humanity. This is all
Phoenix
that's left.
killed Pascual.
Yeah. And this is all that's left, and it's one hell of a gimmick, and your personal gimmick of the year. I love that. You actually did end up saying mine when you were going down the rundown. My gimmick of the year, Pentagon Jr., Cero Miedo.
Ah, yes, Zero Fear. Oh, yeah. And really, if you want to talk about gimmick, he is a Mexican luchador who was trained the way of the samurai and turned to the dark arts.
I mean, that multiculturalism, though,
Yeah,
like
that's
putting
the
all those
thing.
things
Like,
together.
and you can even work some Star Wars references in there because he's like a Jedi now, like with his Sith Lord.
I freaking, and I will readily confess, and I know that Cal Dagstar and Kid Coheed and my boys who are also inner sadists can agree with me here. Just watching him break people's arms and seeing the look of despair on their faces before they know it's gonna end is just amazing.
Darth
Like,
Vampidius and Pentagon Skywalker.
I mean, dude, to me, I can't wait for season 2 simply to see Pentagon and what he does. If it wasn't for the fact that Mil Muertes is probably going to be so dominant as champion, I would be chomping at the bit to see Pentagon win the world title. Like, this is a gimmick
Oh,
to me
yeah.
that is so ready for prime time to be working with those guys. You know that we already did the Pentagon spotlight. We talked about how we want him to, kind of work with Puma and have that program. This gimmick is amazing.
To
I
me,
freaking love it.
Pentagon is like one of the big three. Like when you think about Lucha Underground, the big three kind of like big time heels that have this like shroud of mystery and power. It's Mill, Pentagon, and Matanza are the big three to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because those are the three guys where it's just like I get that Puma's amazing, but what the hell is gonna need to happen for somebody to beat one of these guys?
Exactly. And you know what I love about Pentagon too, because it's all about that violence, but it's not violence like I know you usually groan with places like CCW and stuff that it just that's all it
Oh,
is
yeah,
and
yeah.
it's overdone. But like with Pentagon, I feel like the violence, I don't even know if I'm using the right word here and I feel like I'm about to have a disconnect, but it's more sophisticated, I think. It's not as juvenile. It's not all about, oh look, thumbtacks, oh look fire. No, he's trying to end people's livelihoods. Now granted,
Yeah,
the
yeah. Well, I think that's the thing too. Is like with CZW, that almost feels like a stunt show. Like it's the circus. You're swallowing swords, breathing fire. It's just showing people how much you can screw someone up to try and
exactly.
extract money from them. Where the Pentagon, there's story behind it. So with Pentagon, and even then, it's not like he's physically mutilating people like what they do in CZW, unless you count Vampiro. That's the only example of that in season one of Lucha Underground, because everything else, he's just a really really good powerhouse wrestler who happens to break people's arms after matches are over.
And you know what? This is the genius of Lucha Underground because when Pentagon does stray from that path with Vampiro, to your point, it makes perfect sense because Vampiro was the teacher, really seeing if Pentagon was ready to go to those places, ready to be violent enough to
And
take
that's the
that
thing
next
too.
step.
I don't know if you noticed, but in that Cero Miedo match, I feel like Vampiro introduced every weapon that was used. He introduced the thumbtacks. I'm pretty sure he was the first one to introduce the light tubes, although that might have been Pentagon. I'm not completely sure on that. I gotta watch it again. He introduced the flaming table. That was all Vampiro. All Pentagon ever really introduced was the chairs, and even then, like he was trying to end the match by putting Vampiro on a freaking stretcher. He didn't even do the typical heel thing and go after Vampiro while he was being stretchered out. Vampiro just kind of sat up and beat the shit out of the EMTs and fought his way back to the ring.
Exactly. So Pentagon's fantastic. Definitely my gimmick of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great pick. So what was your complete 180 now? Because we both talk about, like, one of us talks about death and the other person talks about a violent psychopath. What was your funniest moment of the year, John?
Well, I could be funny myself and just go back to Pentagon and my inner sadist and say every army broke was my funniest moment of the year, but I did take this quite literally. I have Sheamus tries and fails to connect with the New Day from Survivor Series.
Yes.
This was amazing.
I think
Like,
you can toss Barrett in there too, because his gyrating with the New Day was pretty hilarious.
yeah, I wanted to, but since you said like funniest moment of the, I didn't know if it would count. I didn't know if I was splitting hairs, but like
Uh,
if I could,
moment is a subjective measurement.
yeah, yeah, like if I could, I definitely would group it all together because these five were amazing. But if I
Yes.
had to pick one, Sheamus just trying to belong. Like, that's
Let's
right, my
get
brothers.
jiggy on these posers.
Exactly, that's right, my brothers, and we're about to get jiggy on these posers. Am I right? Am I right? Am I, oh, sorry. And just like, that awkwardness
Oh
though.
God, don't judge me.
I guarantee you somebody's at a New Year's party having that exact same awkwardness right now while we're doing this.
Oh
And just so they know when they come home and they listen to this, I am laughing at you. I've got you totally covered. So, it's just amazing.
savage,
It's
without
just
without a care for human life.
it's just amazing because even commentary, whose job is supposed to build people up, Michael Cole comes out with, oh, maybe Sheamus should use that money in the bank and buy himself a personality. Aren't I funnier than Sheamus, guys? Shut up, you tool. Like, I loved everything about this. And yes, as a little bonus, as a runner up, I guess, just so I can package the whole thing, Barrett dancing to Xavier Woods' trombone. Oh my God, he was so enthused. Just
That's the
incredible.
side of him that I want to come out more often. Just him enjoying it. Like that. That's why we loved the Bad News Barrett gimmick so much, because he was enjoying it so much that it really was infectious. It made you like, oh my God, this guy's having so much fun. I can't hate on this.
Exactly. And like now they've got him with that King Barrett stuff, and it's
Yeah,
like
like
it's the
no,
same
no,
old
we
Barrett.
he can't get that kind of over. We have to give him a crown and a scepter and a cape.
Exactly, just really ticks me off. But this didn't. This had me dying. And then to think that they abandoned him, he went in the
Can
match,
we
but they
just
ended up
give
as world
like
champion.
this entire award just to the New Day though?
We really should. I mean, they've
It's like,
me
I
not
mean,
getting
even
people.
just this past Monday night on Raw, I feel like one of the funniest moments of the year was, we will fight your children. Like, who says that on national television, especially for a publicly traded company who's targeting their product at children?
People are finally listening to me. You and I
Yeah.
have been saying we hate children for so long, and me and James were even arguing who should get credit for that. And ultimately, I conceded to him because it got a little weird. But regardless, New Day is amazing, and Sheamus again just trying to connect with him to belong in that one moment in time and just falling on his face.
Hmm.
Glorious. So let me just ask you, brother, what was your funniest moment of the year?
Well, I think that it's worth just kind of giving that overall encompassing award to the New Day. But for my specific funniest moment of the year, it was very recent, like yours, and I think it actually happened at the same pay per view as yours at Survivor Series. My funniest moment of the year was Triple H selling the ever loving shit out of Roman Reigns' chair shots.
Oh my god,
Triple
that was
H
amazing.
was hunched over looking at the canvas, and Roman Reigns hit him in the back in a downward motion with the chair, and Triple H jumped up to sell it.
Yes. Amazing.
This, you can go back and listen to our live reactions. I was dying. Like, literally, I had to use a freaking inhaler because I could not breathe.
Dude, I heard it. That was probably between that and your like really getting into the Ultima Lucha main event. When
Yeah,
I think about TWitWoW's 2015,
those
those
were
were
two
some of your
highlights of my
best.
year.
Yeah, of your live reactions, definitely. Because you were losing it, man. It was great. I loved it. And I was even like mocking Triple H, like he's all holding his ribs, like, Steph, I'm dying. And just like, oh my God, everything, dude.
And it's so great too because you know how hard he's trying to get Roman over. And it even goes back to last year. There was a moment when Roman speared Triple H, and I think it was when Triple H was like telling the Shield that they had to do something, and they weren't. And this was like during their very beginning of their face run last year, and Roman speared Triple H, and Triple H, like, I even remember posting on Reddit, like, my favorite moment of the night was Triple H selling Roman spear like a shotgun wound.
Yes, yes, that is what you said, dude. That's a great pick. I don't think anybody could really even say, "Oh, that's recency bias" or whatever, because that was legitimately hilarious.
Yeah,
Like that was just gold. I
it was
love it.
great. All right, John. Quote of the year. I really struggled with this one. So I just went with the most memorable New Day moment that I could think of. And that was Kofi Kingston taking a shit on country music in Nashville.
Yes, yes.
Talking about that's not even my character talking, it's me. Country music is horrible. Like that whole thing, that whole diatribe was just gold to me.
And I think you and I really connected so deeply with Kofi in that moment because I think you and I both loathe country music because I know I do and I think you do as well if I'm not mistaken. Like we both hate it. So yeah, that was amazing. My quote of the year. I actually have a runner-up for this one just to be kind of cheeky, but my quote of the year is "Ring the bell." Dario
Yes.
Cueto. My runner-up would be "Ladder Match," also from Dario Cueto. And actually, to be
Would
fair,
your second runner up be This is a temple?
yeah, probably. But to be fair, like if we were to really look at these and like really try and make them as legitimate as possible, maybe ladder match actually should have been because that was actually so popular. El Rey on their channel made a 20-minute video of him just saying that over and over.
Yeah.
You know that something's popular when they go to those lengths. They didn't do that for Ring the Bell, but I just remember you and I always laugh when we think about him saying that. And to me, that's quote of the year because that has just stuck with me. And the way he said it in his delivery, Dario is a beast, and again, one of my favorite like non-wrestling figures in a long time.
Yeah.
Just awesome. So yeah, easy quote of the year for me.
Oh, that's so awesome. All right. Well, let's move on then, John. Why don't you tell me what your or who your rather commentator of the year was?
Well, I gotta tell you, Lucha Underground's got to be loving all the momentum I'm giving them because my commentator of the year is Vampiro. I
Ah.
loved. Let me tell you what I loved about this guy. Vampiro, what makes him so great is that he wasn't really like overly gimmicky. Like, you got JBL, the hat, and like, I love it, Michael, and always like, vacillating between who he likes and who he hates. Vampiro, he would like certain guys that were Technicos, he would like certain guys that were Rudos, but there was an honest quality about him
Yeah.
that I think made it okay. I never really got that quality from a JBL or this one or that one. Because with Vampiro, it was almost like you were a fan watching and you'd be in the announce desk just kind of giving your honest thoughts. That's what I got from Vampiro, and I loved it because he made no bones about, well, this face should be doing this, or I really like this heel. If only he had this. And yeah, I just felt like Vampiro was a breath of fresh air. Striker was the perfect compliment to him. And yeah, I got to give big ups to Vampiro, man, because honestly, my only criticism about him was the whole always like digging at Conan, but then when everybody enlightened me, specifically you, about the whole WCW beef and all that stuff, like even that made sense. So yeah, Vampiro easily my commentator of the year. So what about you?
Well, I think that this is a long time coming. We've already given him a TWitWoW award for being the most underrated by the fans talent of the year when he was an active wrestler. So it's only fitting that his first calendar year as a full-time commentator, he would win this award from me. Corey Graves.
Yes, dude.
I
Yes.
love both of the Lucha Underground guys. They are great, and I would never want to take anything away from them. But to me, no individual between those two guys really stands out. But when you look at the NXT announce team, it's the Corey Graves show. And Byron Saxton is a nice supplement to it. But the only reason that Byron Saxton makes it entertaining is because he gives Corey Graves somebody to work off of.
Exactly. And can I say this too? I mean, not to get too personal or too emotional, but I think Corey Graves deserves this because it's so impressive how he was able to make the transition and land on his feet.
Yeah.
I mean, because let's be real here. This is a guy that wanted to make his livelihood wrestling. That's what he wanted to do. Unfortunately, the nature of our business today with concussions and having to just be very careful, very proactive, Corey Graves suffered one too many, and he had to do this. But to think that he would have a new lease on life, doing this, be just as good at that as he is as an in-ring competitor, has so many memorable quips, very charismatic, very insightful too. Because a lot of times, here's the thing: I think when heels try and be heels on commentary, sometimes it's a bit of a reach. Like, okay,
Yeah.
you're just being a jerk for the sake of being a jerk. But with Corey Graves, it's always insightful. Like, oh well.
And whenever Mojo Rawley's face enters my screen, Corey Graves becomes my spirit animal.
Exactly, exactly. So Corey Graves is the inner voice in all of us, if for nobody else than for Mojo Rawley hate. But
Yeah.
on that personal level of him making the transition, because Vampiro with me, and I will say this to credit your pick, Vampiro hadn't been wrestling for years,
Right.
and if he had been wrestling on and off, it would be like one of those Legends things, whatever. So it's easier for him to go into that role. For Corey, it was tough, and to know that he did it and did it superbly, like only he can, sticking it to the haters 2 years in a row because you said I sucked as a wrestler, but now I'm a commentator and I'm not going anywhere because I'm just as good at that as I was
And
as a
I've
competitor.
seen a lot of people saying that they wish Corey Graves would show up on the main roster and commentate there, but to me, I don't necessarily want to see what Corey Graves influenced by Vince McMahon on commentary looks like.
I'm going to say the same thing about Corey Graves as a commentator as I did about Emma earlier. The main roster doesn't deserve Corey Graves.
Yeah.
Because I'm right there with you. Why would I want to see Corey Graves and all of his brilliance when he has such a great relationship with Byron Saxton? I say that
Well,
with all
yeah,
due
I was just
respect.
going to say too, we've already seen what the WWE's main roster commentary team does with Byron Saxton as an outsider. What the hell would they do with Graves, who actually
Exactly.
has a degree of confidence? Like there would be, how much JBL and Cole bicker. It would be so much worse with another ego in that group like Corey Graves.
Exactly. Exactly. I think you need Corey's ego, and I use ego very positively. You need to give it a space to breathe,
Yeah,
and you just wouldn't have that
we've
there.
already seen what they've done with Saxton. We already saw what the SmackDown crew did with Tom Phillips. Like WWE doesn't know what they have when they have good commentators. They just insist on going with whoever parrots Vince the best.
Exactly. And again, that's exactly why Corey Graves shouldn't be going anywhere. He's right where he belongs. I'm so glad you picked him for commentator of the year. Nothing but love and respect for Corey Graves.
All right, so now our next category is along these same lines, guest commentator of the year, and I get to go first with this one, which is great because Titus O'Neil is my guest commentator of the year exclusively for the one night when he was on commentary and apparently, I mean, he might have just had maybe he woke up on the wrong side of the bed that morning. Maybe he was just feeling particularly salty about JBL, but he proceeded to light JBL on fire, and there was no way for him to recover from these burns.
I know what you're talking about. Yep, or he just called him out for not doing his job.
Yeah,
And it's
like
like, yeah.
JBL, I mean, JBL was doing his nonsense talking about how, oh, I hope Seth Rollins is still okay, even though there was a tag team match going on in the ring that didn't even involve Seth Rollins. And Titus O'Neil was like, "Hey man, let's not talk about Seth Rollins. Let's talk about this." And JBL was starting to attack Titus O'Neil's intelligence, and Titus goes, "Hey man, I got 2 degrees. How many do you have?" And JBL didn't say a word. And Titus is just like, "Yeah, that's what I thought. Do your job."
It's funny because I have never really been like the biggest Titus supporter, but I'm sure
No,
I.
and neither am I. But when yeah, like I said earlier, when somebody does something good, I'm gonna give him credit, and this was great.
It really
I mean, we
was.
talk about Corey Graves being my spirit animal around Joe Raleigh, but in this moment, Titus O'Neil became my spirit animal.
Way to shut JBL down, Titus. You would almost get me to do that bark of yours. Almost.
Almost.
Uh, my guest commentator of the year. Finally, he gets some respect, but in the weirdest category possible, Kevin freaking Owens. I loved when he guest commentated. I
On
remembered another.
NXT, yes.
Yes. Two instances I remember that made me give him this award. One, the whole Alex Riley beef. Just like
Hey
he
everyone, let's rage.
he bullied that failure and he made him feel exactly what he is, and that's 2 feet tall, that worthless sack of crap. And then and then just like, well, and then Alex Riley thinking he's got a spine. Well, Kevin, I just want to know why you did that to Sami Zayn. I would never do that to my friend. Shut up, Alex. You're a loser. Of course you wouldn't do that to your friend. That's why you're behind the desk instead of main eventing pay-per-views like you always bitch about Twitter that you should be doing. You
Yeah,
fucking loser. Get my coffee, you piece of shit.
I
And
mean,
that
as a
like
man.
I don't understand why losers try and lecture winners. I've never gotten that ever. But then the other great thing about Kevin Owens on commentary is that he makes it about what it should be about. Kevin freaking Owens. I, honestly,
What was the match that he was there for? Was that, I think it was Balor Neville, right?
it was Balor Neville or Balor somebody
Yeah.
because every time those commentators, and this is actually the one time that it does repulse me, you have Kevin Owens there and you're talking about the match. Are you at least ashamed of yourself? I
and,
just
and every single time they would give Balor credit for doing anything, Owens would be like, I could do that too, right?
yeah, and you know what? Like, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of Kevin Owens always getting the shaft from these people. Oh, Kevin, I wouldn't have done that to my best friend. Oh, Kevin, how impressive is Finn Balor? He does everything Finn Balor does on top of being a father. Damn it! And it has to be said. He juggles being an amazing performer with being a father. He is contributing to, I think, 3 college funds. 3 college funds. How many is Finn doing, huh? Fuck all. That's what he's doing. So screw you guys.
You
Alex
are
Riley.
killing me right now, man.
Alex Riley. Oh, I just don't think a man should. What the hell do you know about being a man when you were somebody's manservant for most of the year with the. Oh, freak.
Oh, you're gonna kill me, John.
No, you know what? Good for Kevin Owens,
Oh,
reminding everybody that he is exactly what he says he is, and that is superior. I loved him as guest commentator. I love him when he commentates on the main roster because he bullies Michael Cole, who needs to get put in check. All right. Oh, look, guys, I have my own interview on WWE.com. Aren't I special? No, Michael Cole, you're worthless. And I'm glad Kevin Owens takes the
oh,
opportunity every
and
day
that
to
was that
of it.
interview that he did too was amazing with Michael Cole, where Michael Cole was like talking to him, and then he was just like, I meant to ask you about that. When John Cena had his nose broken, you heaped all this praise on him, but I never hear you say anything about me, and I got my nose broken in my first match ever on NXT.
And see, Kevin Owens is pointing out the greatest error in all of humanity, perhaps even this award show. It needs to be all about Kevin Owens. I'm even thinking like
I gotta say, I'm kind of curious to know who would have won out if you would have found out about Kevin Owens at the same time you found out about Adam Cole, because I feel like it would be close.
oh, it would be so. Honestly, I might have to go Owens, and that shocks even me to say that. But
Wow.
I love it. I love how he takes these people that decide for once in their life to not be worthless little jellyfish and be like, I'm going to say something. I'm going to do something about this. And he shuts it down. Know
You
your
know what they always
place.
say? Don't be a hero.
Exactly. Know your place. Get that man his coffee. Shut your mouth and be grateful for the opportunity. I'm done. Kevin Owens for life.
I wish Josh Matthew was still around.
Oh my god, dude! If Kevin Owens powerbombed Josh Matthews on the ring apron and then trash talked him on a headset, I would contribute to his children's college fund. And like,
And I mean, yeah. Speaking of power bombing worthless people, he did that to Machine Gun Kelly too.
oh my god! And then I love because I think it was JoJo. I don't think it was Renee. It might have been Renee, and it was JoJo. It's like Kevin, why'd you do that? And you know what he said? He said because I can grow up. And then he walked out. That's right, JoJo. Grow up. Yeah.
Hey man,
Asking
don't
him
make
why he
fun
did.
of her just because she's short.
I just did. I just did. Gauntlet laid.
Oh my god, talking about Kevin Owens gets you lit, bro.
I am turned up right now. I am like ready to take on the world.
Well, I think that that's a great time for us to move on then from a person that gets you pumped up to hopefully some music that gets you pumped up. What was your theme music of the year, John?
This you want to talk about runners up? I had a litany of them because everything was competitive. I mean, Sheamus's theme, which
Oh,
I actually
oh,
started marking up for because before it was even used as his theme, it was used in his return vignettes, and already I was like, man, I hope that's his return theme, and that was actually one of the few times in my life where I actually lucked out as a wrestling fan.
I
You know,
really do not miss at all the Lobsterhead song.
I don't either. I haven't even thought about it to be honest. So many NXT themes, like you could pretty much say NXT for themes because so many of them are
Let's
so good.
just run down the list. Asuka, Kevin Owens, Finn Balor, Sami Zayn, Emma, the Mechanics, Jordan and Gable, the Vaudevillains, Enzo and Cass. There are so many. Dana Brooke, frickin' Nia Jax, who I almost just called Tamina but didn't. There are so many amazing NXT theme songs. Even if you want to go to like Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, like oh my god.
Yeah, so why I say that,
Bailey's theme is so legit.
it grew on me, dude. It grew on me.
And
Like,
Alexa Bliss's theme is insanely good too. And I'm not even talking about her awesome new remixed heel theme. I'm talking about the original one that started out with Glitter Glitz Sparkle Bliss. That song was legit.
yeah, yeah. So why I prefaced this award by saying all that was this was a very crowded field. So for this theme to win, you know it's beast. I picked Pentagon Jr.'s theme. And
Oh,
And the crazy thing is, and I'm just gonna be, completely forthcoming with everybody. This isn't even a theme where I abuse the replay button per
it
se.
is for me.
It's
I'm raising my hand right now. I'm not even joking, John. For a solid week after I discovered this theme, I had it on repeat on YouTube on my phone playing in my car.
yeah, that's first of all, that's amazing, sir. You win at life.
Like I would
Second of
literally
all,
like I would stop at a gas station and just sit there with my windows down and the theme song playing, hoping someone would be like, "Hey man, what's that?"
exactly, exactly. So even though this isn't a theme that I just destroy the replay button, you might be thinking, well, why did he pick it? Because when I do listen to it, it's so good.
It is.
Like it gets me so pumped, it gets me so ready, and it's so funny that we go from me talking about just having that like rage-filled like exaltation of Kevin Owens to a theme that belongs to a man that ruins people's lives. I have found my spiritual wrestling brethren between Kevin Owens and Pentagon. I just want to be like, I'm one of you. I hate humanity too. I'm a complete misanthrope. And it works. His theme is phenomenal. I love it. And, it was actually one of the few Lucha Underground themes to me that really did stand out because even Johnny Mundo, while his theme did grow on me, I'm not going to lie, the first time I heard it, I thought it sounded pretty by the numbers,
I
pretty
gotta
generic.
tell you, man, I love Lucha Underground, but what I would give to hear that guitar riff for Johnny Mundo.
I know, dude. I know. And see, that's if I had to give one nitpick of Lucha Underground because we are talking about music. I do hope their music can improve in subsequent seasons
But
because I think,
hell, I mean, dude, I mean, they might have some room for improvement, but I think everyone does. And the fact that they nailed Pentagon's theme as much as they did.
yes, yes, and that's the thing because even though that's where I think they could actually grow the most, that's my honestly my biggest criticism I think of the brand is like the production value in terms of the music.
Yeah.
But even saying that, there's a sweet irony in knowing that I say that, but they still take away theme music of the year because they got Pentagon so right.
Yeah.
So theme music of the year handed down. But I've talked enough. What's your theme of the year, dude?
This was insanely difficult for me, and I actually did manage to narrow it down to just two people, right?
I
The two people that I finally managed, and the reason that it was hard for me because of all the themes that I listed off for you, and Baron Corbin's theme is a challenge for me to ignore because that is such an amazing theme. But I don't like picking themes that have been around for a while, and Corbin's has been around for a couple of years now. So I wanted to go with something that was more 2015, and I really it came down. I even considered Dana Brooks' theme because her theme is awesome too. But it came down for me to Emma with her new amazing heel remix theme, which is just the hypest shit. It's amazing. And Asuka, and I settled on Asuka. I think I'm gonna have to give my theme music of the year to Asuka.
Wow. Can't argue with it though. Can't argue with it at all. Amazing theme. In fact, you want to talk about the replay button? I do that with Asuka's theme more than Pentagon's.
Yeah,
It is a great theme.
I
It really
I
is.
actually I have on my phone the music service that I'm subscribed to. I know a lot of people use different music services. I use Rhapsody, right? And they have maybe like 10 or 15 NXT themes on Rhapsody from WWE. And the ones that I have, like I have Samoa Joe's, which is just so good. His remixed theme. Like if even if there was an award for most improved theme of the year, I would be struggling to pick between Emma and Joe because his was so awful at first and it got so good. And then like I have Joe, Emma. I had the Ascension, but I got bored of it. I have Asuka. I think I have Jordan and Gable. Like I know for a fact that I have Sami Zayn. Like I just love so many NXT themes, and it's gotten to the point that I actually have them not just like, oh, I'm going to pull it up on YouTube and listen to it, but I actually have it downloaded to my phone in MP3 form so that I can listen to it in the car when I want to.
That is such dedication. I love how dedicated you are to Lucha Underground in your car between and like NXT and those other brands. Like whether it's listening to the music or in the bumper stickers, man, that is awesome,
Yeah.
dude. And yeah, Asuka's theme is incredible. I can't
I
fault you at
love
all over
her
that pick.
theme's build up. Like the way that it starts with like just the dark lights, no lights and like the big mask behind her and you hear like the the laser sound almost and then the bum 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 and then it goes into like the 21st century schizoid man kind of music with the lyrics and stuff. And yes, I do openly acknowledge that it's basically just a complete rip off of that song, but that song's amazing, so who cares?
Exactly. No, it's a theme that builds anticipation, gets you pumped. Like
Yeah.
again,
Like the
yeah,
NWO theme being a rip off of like two or three Jimi Hendrix songs doesn't make it any less of an amazing theme.
exactly. Yeah, that doesn't discredit in the slightest. Again, this is a theme that I replay more than my winner of Pentagon. It's just a really good song. I'm really glad you chose that, dude.
All right, let's move on then to finisher of the year. I kept it simple here, not trying to get extravagant or overly clever or anything. I was tempted. Well, you know what? I'm not even going to say who I was tempted to give it to because I think that that's actually who you gave it to. So I gave it to Coup de Grace. The Coup de Grace, Finn Balor. It's been the most consistent finisher of the year in that he has won so many matches with it, and he's done so throughout the entire year from beginning to end.
I will say that I think your winner is superior to mine only because I don't think anybody's ever kicked out of the coup de grace yet, from what I
Well, and
understand.
if I know what yours is, then only one person's ever kicked out of that. And even still, I
Yes.
think that yours is probably more impressive than mine. I just picked the coup de grace based on kind of prestige and the fact that it's won as many matches as it has.
Yeah, I feel like it's cool because I feel like yours gears more towards efficiency because again, one person did kick out of mine. I picked Prince Puma 630.
That's what I
I
thought. Yeah, and
yeah,
I was so tempted to pick that, but we were discussing it, and you brought up that it was yours, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go a little bit different direction with mine. And yeah, like we both have great picks. It's just that they're different picks. Like yours is the most impressive, mine is the best at getting the job done, that kind of thing. But they're
right.
both great picks, I think. And the one thing that they both have in common is that they're both off the top rope.
Yeah, they're both off the top rope. And another thing they have in common, at least in their respective areas, Bauer NXT, Puma Lucha Underground, they won world titles with these.
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
Yep.
Puma 630 pinned Johnny Mundo multiple times. Just
No,
sorry,
it
sorry.
only it only pinned him twice, John.
Well, yeah,
Once
yeah,
in Aztec Warfare, and then All Night Long. That's it.
twice too many. But got that done. Has been such a dominant champion with the move, and then even at Ultima Lucha, gave it a good fight, and Mil Muertes did kick out, but even like the week before that, took him out with
I'm
it.
telling you, man, I want so badly for Ricochet to whip out the double moonsault at some point in Lucha Underground. Like
I think
that's
he will.
because we've seen a 630 before. Like Elix Skipper did one. I think that at some point there was someone in WWE that did it. I don't remember, but it's not something that we've never seen before. But I don't think that there's ever been a double moonsault on television before.
And my thing is, dude, if we were ever gonna get it, I think it would be the Puma Muertes rematch because I think
Oh, well,
knowing
I
that
mean, maybe
Muertes
if they're going to give him the title back, use that to win the title back.
maybe I just think that he would try and pull it out because he knows Muertes is already kicked out of the 630 and he may try something different.
I think he would
And
still go for the 630 though, and just move. Muertes would just kick out of it again, and then Puma would have to resort to that kind of
right.
the last bullet in the chamber being the double moonsault.
But regardless, I love both of our finishers of the year because they both really had quality years in terms of their booking and everything else. It was amazing. So yeah, really can't say anything more than that.
All right, let's talk about our next award then, John. What was your title reign of the year? This is easy, isn't it?
Yeah, I had a little caveat with this. I had John Cena's U.S. title reign, and I said both of them from this year because he did lose it for 1 month to Seth Rollins.
Yeah,
It was
but
a
the
little
second
hiccup.
one wasn't really that impressive. It was more the first one that was amazing.
Yeah, if I really had to qualify it, if I really had to split those hairs, I would say the first one, definitely.
Yeah.
Because that's where he had all the clinics and
Although,
everything.
was it during the second title reign that he had the matches with Cesaro?
It might have been the second one, actually.
Well, I definitely see where you're coming from. His U.S. title run or runs, depending on where the Cesaro matches were great.
Yeah, I mean, John Cena, as a main event guy, actually did something that we asked so many main event guys to do over the years. He went down to the mid card and he elevated
Elevated.
a championship on his
Yep.
way there.
Yeah.
Just amazing. So yeah, I have to give it to him. He did quality work. I think this more than makes up for my bashing of Cena earlier for worst promo of the year because everything else was just absolute top notch quality this year.
Yeah, absolutely. My title reign of the year. Oh my God, It's funny because I came into this with somebody written down that I wanted to go with, but then we've been talking so much about other stuff that I honestly almost want to change my mind.
What are you thinking about, dude? What are you thinking about changing it to?
Well, the one that I have written down is Sasha as NXT Women's Champion.
Okay.
She had 3 amazing matches as the Women's Champion. 4 if you count the match where she won it in.
Right.
But then Prince Puma had so many clinics. Like Prince Puma is my match of the year, my underrated match of the year, and like 3 of my top 10 matches of the year.
Yeah, he was dominant this year. But Sasha had a lot of quality matches too, though.
Yeah, she did. Oh God. You know what? No. We've given Sasha her fair shake. She's amazing. I can't deny Prince Puma. That title reign, he held that title for 8 months. He held that title from January I want to say 6th until August, I want to say 5th.
Yeah,
That's yeah, like okay, 7 months compared to Sasha's 6, so slightly longer and more. It's not necessarily better matches, just a higher quantity of amazing matches. Because I mean, you look at Puma versus Drago, Puma versus Phoenix, Puma Mundo twice, Puma Muertes, Puma Hernandez, even Puma Chavo wasn't bad.
yeah, and that's really saying something because I've never really been like the biggest fan of Chavo's in ring work. Puma, he dominated, and yeah, I'm glad that you're giving this nod to Puma because he was the inaugural champion, so he really had the responsibility of establishing the belt, and boy did he succeed. Those matches were top notch.
Yeah.
So yeah, great choice there.
All right, so now up next we have our faction of the year, and John, I know that you thought about making the same pick as me, but then you found kind of another port to anchor up on. I went with what I see as the obvious choice, the New Day.
Yes.
To me, there are other than your pick, which I won't mention, but other than your pick, there are only 2 other factions that could challenge for this, and that's Los Ingobernables between CMLL and New Japan, and the Kingdom.
Yes.
But I had to go with the New Day for just the consistency of the entertainment factor.
They've been so good. It's
And I
amazing.
mean, it helps that they are two-time WWE champions as the New Day.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And it's amazing what happens when you actually give characters like time to grow and develop and you give them TV time. It really is. We should try it more sometime because New Day was able to take the ball and man, I mean they're still clearing the field. I mean
Yeah.
they're still, running with it.
Yep.
My faction of the year, because I already gave New Day my tag team of the year, and I thought faction, like you think faction, you think multiple people, you think whatever. I got a bit clever with this one, and I have to thank Ashton for really introducing me to this promotion, us doing live reactions together, because I think that really warranted these guys getting the award. Mount Rushmore 2.0. Super
Oh,
Dragon,
baby.
Roderick Strong, and the Young Bucks. The idea that they take a worthless sack of crap referee like Rick Knox and abuse him on a regular basis, these are my people, folks. These are my people. Mount
How are you
Rushmore,
ever going to hate on Rick Knox when he's a lucha referee, too? Are you going to hate on him all season long?
probably, if he gets in the way. Like, do
Oh.
your damn job. You know? Look at him trying to defend himself, super kicking the arm. But what's wrong with you?
Well,
All right?
John, let me ask you a question. If you were a referee and somebody super kicked you in the face, would you not want to get your revenge?
Maybe it would make me reflect on my life and realize that maybe I was out of my place. Maybe Rick Knox is out of his place. Maybe you should stop being an embarrassment to your family and do your damn
Oh
job.
my god!
Maybe,
You can
maybe,
justify anything.
look, people on here, I'm sure, will be tempted to be like, wow, that John's a scumbag. Probably, but it doesn't make me any less right. Mount Rushmore 2.0, when these guys came together, oh my god, the inaugural moment, the initiation, you could say, of this group, amazing, especially because I'm not familiar with Super Dragon, right? I'm ignorant of him. I'm ignorant of like a lot of the goings on at PWG, aside from the shows that me and Ashton are able to watch when they finally, hit the internet. But seeing this guy come in who I didn't even know and just destroy people. I mean, Joey Ryan, Candice LeRae, Rick Knox, just laying all these people out. Then you got Roddy doing his thing, and the Young Bucks, well, being the Young Bucks. This faction's amazing. The guerrilla warfare matches they've had, incredible. I love that they're legitimately they're this legitimate faction of heels because people have been trying to take them down. They haven't succeeded. And now with the almighty, wisest among us, Adam Cole, a part of the faction, it can only go up from here. Now, I'll admit, Roddy should probably get out of his adult huggies and learn to be a man and give the reins to Adam Cole if he wants the group to thrive. I know a thing or two about egos, Roddy. You really shouldn't let yours get in the way. But I'm confident that Roderick Strong won't be a little bitch bag and he will defer to Adam Cole on all subsequent decisions going forward with this group, which means that they are assured to be my faction of the year for 2016 because Adam Cole.
Adam Cole was an original member of Mount Rushmore.
That's right, he was. Mount Rushmore 1.0.
No,
And,
just Mount Rushmore.
well, there you go. So now that he's
It
a
was
part of.
Adam Cole, Kevin Steen, and the Young Bucks. And that would have been the greatest faction of all time if you would have actually been around with PWG to see it.
Exactly. But you know why he was a part of, 2.0 is because they already reached the pinnacle of perfection with Adam Cole in the original. So they had to carry him over for the sequel
Yeah,
because how are you going to do better than Adam Cole?
you're not.
Answer,
You're
you
just
can't.
not.
You can't. In fact, all women should stop.
Impossible!
I mean, I'm just going to say right now, all women right now should just stop giving birth because your children are never going to amount to the same level as Adam Cole. It's not going to happen.
Oh
I know
my
you have dreams for your
god.
child. Oh, you could be an attorney.
Shameless.
You could be an attorney, you could be a doctor. It doesn't matter. They're all going to be washing Adam Cole's dishes and just, parking his cars. So I'm just trying to save you all the pain and the agony. Adam Cole be praised. Praise be to Adam Cole. And one last time, baby! Screw you, Kyle O'Reilly. Yeah!
Just had to get that last shot in, right?
He is such a failure.
Oh my god.
Had to use an
Well,
illegal MMA hold to try and win a match.
well, I don't think Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly is going to win this next award, John. On-screen relationship of the year.
That transition, though, my on-screen relationship of the year, I'm going to be just very straightforward, Katrina and Mil Muertes.
Yes. Well,
So,
aka puppeteer and puppet.
yeah, and you know why I love this is because
Big,
you,
scary,
yeah,
massive, bulky puppet, but still.
well, why I pick this, to be honest, One, I really didn't feel like there were many competitors, if I'm being honest. Maybe you could surprise me, Ashton, because you didn't have the same pick, right? You had a different.
Correct.
You okay? So yeah, I'm glad about that because maybe you'll be able to prove me wrong. I didn't really think there was much competition. Clearly, disagree because you have a different winner. But also, even though this could be classified as a romantic relationship because they do make out and they are
Look,
together,
Ron, I mean, clearly the best on-screen relationship of the year was Lana and Dolph Ziggler.
obviously. I mean,
Oh, Jesus.
chameleon girlfriends for the win, though. Like,
Yeah, that's fair.
uh, I love that the romantic aspect wasn't really the most emphasized aspect. If anything,
No,
it was
and
probably the most
especially
downplayed.
after the resurrection. At that point, it became almost like a strictly business relationship.
Exactly. Like, you know what? This isn't working. We need to get you to the top. And just this,
I feel like
this like,
Pasquale was kind of somebody that saw Katrina as a girlfriend, but Mil Muertes is just a thing, not a person.
yeah, it's like when Millward just came out, the first thing is like, so can we win now? Because like, I just want to like own everything,
Yeah.
and just like, yep,
And now
and
he does, so there you go.
and they've gone and they've done it. I love these two. I think the relationship, and I think another thing I want to give credit to, you've had great relationships in the past. I'm not even saying this year, but just in general in the past, like WWE, Edge and Lita. I like Christian and Trish, but like there was never really any nuance or substance to those relationships. This has intrigue to it to me. This has like that air of mystique and enigma and just like what are these two gonna do? Are these two ever gonna have a falling out? If so, how explosive is it gonna be? Like there's a level of genuine interest there. And it's been a long time since I could say an on screen relationship in a wrestling context has been able to do that for me. So, yeah, I'm really happy to give it to Katrina and Milwartes.
Absolutely, I love that. But yeah, my on-screen relationship of the year. It's funny because it's really more behind the screen than on the screen, but you hear their voices, so it's kind of in the product at least. But my on-screen relationship of the year is Corey Graves and Byron Saxton
Nice. Nice
because
work around there. Yeah, I
yeah,
like it
well,
a lot.
and I guess the alternative would be Matt Stryker and Vampiro, but I feel like the fact that they kind of had a weird situation at the end with Vampiro getting in the ring kind of ruined it for me. Um, Graves and Saxton, though, these guys play off of each other so well because Saxton sets him up and Graves knocks him down.
They have such a great interplay with each other. One of my favorite moments, since we're talking about Grave Saxton, I just love your award choice. Vaudevillains versus Blake and Murphy, the first title matchup that led to the Brooklyn rematch. And when Graves is like, "Oh, you only hate on Alexa Bliss because she was the girl that dumped you in high school and she always hung out with the football team," and Saxon was just like, "You don't know anything about me."
Yeah.
Like, love it, dude. I love it. Or like when Graves is like, "Oh, Byron, we all know what you like to do is you like to stay in your basement, just play Dungeons and Dragons," and Byron's just like, "Well, it's a great game." Like he just
Yeah.
owns it. I
Byron
love
Saxton has almost like that Andre from the League style sense of humor where he's perfectly willing to make an idiot out of himself for the sake of entertaining people.
And you know what? I feel like if we were to have just like an extra category, just putting it out there like an underrated commentator, it probably would be Byron for me because
Yeah.
talking about him now in relation to
Dude,
Corey in this relationship, yeah,
the freaking relationship that he has with Cole and JBL is brutal to watch because those guys are the biggest jerks in the world. He'll just say something and they'll be like, "Shut up, Byron." Like, what?
I
Why did he
remember
deserve that reaction?
I remember. I forget what match it was. I think it was like Titus Kane versus somebody. I think Titus may have been on commentary. Something happened, and it was Superstars. I think it was their main event, and soda spilled. And Cole just immediately gets up. He looks at Byron. He's like, "Clean that up, Byron." Like, what? The hell is wrong with you?
Yeah.
I'm just like, where did that even come from? So poor Byron here is getting kicked around. I think he's actually quite underappreciated. Now, you picking this and us talking about Corey and Byron makes me realize just how brilliant that relationship is. You and I have loved it through the year. And man, I gotta give big ups to Byron because it takes two to tango, and we heaped praise on Corey earlier. The guy knows how to take a hit on the chin. He knows how to laugh at himself. I think that's a quality so lost on commentary because I think if you were to try and do that with JBL and Cole, they would be so defensive. Like always like fighting back against it, especially JBL. Whereas Byron, he just rolls with the punches, and I love your award choice, dude. Excellent.
Yeah, I feel like those three, I feel like one of these days Byron's just going to be talking. He's just going to be like, well, the New Day is really entertaining. What do you guys think? And Cole's just going to be like, Go kill yourself, Byron.
And then Byron's just gonna want to be like, suck it in, Byron. 2 more hours.
Yeah, Byron's reaction is just, well, that's about what I expected from Cole. Back to you, Renee.
Just laughing it up. Oh,
And then
Byron.
Cole's just like, no, seriously, Byron, walk in traffic.
Oh man. So I guess you want to move on to our next award category here.
Yeah, go for it. What's your oh, I actually do want to kind of preface these because our next 5 awards are more kind of moment based. It's, we have a few AKAs in here, just different names for these awards. So John, your WTF moment of the year, also known as the Gobbledygooker Award.
Yes. It's funny because it actually ties in perfectly with the preceding award. Katrina licking Mil Muertes in front of Phoenix.
Yeah.
I was so terrified and scrunched up, kind of tying in there when I saw Katrina looking at it, and the look on Phoenix's face kind of mirrored my own because he's just like, "What the hell?" And I'm looking at it and I'm like, So is Phoenix gonna get in on it, or what's happening here? It just, yeah.
I mean, she clearly wanted him to, but he had just no interest in that.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, that's not really my scene. I'm gonna dip under this rope here and go to the back. Yeah. But yeah, a crazy moment in a season's worth of crazy moments for Lucha Underground. And that was just one where I was just like, damn, because that was a deep lick, from the belly button to the chin. And I'm just like, oh,
Yeah.
God. So yeah, easy win.
Slurping up all that sweat.
Oh my God, why'd you have to say it like that?
I mean, hey, Mill is a pretty big dude. He sweats a lot.
What was your WTF moment of the year?
Well, my runner-up is the Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar tug of war before WrestleMania.
Yes.
But my actual WTF award is going to something much less awful. Joey Ryan winning the test of strength in Japan with his penis.
That was amazing.
Did you see they actually recently recreated that spot, but with 5 people?
Really?
Including Rockstar Spud. He was a part of it too. Yeah, one guy grabbed Joey by the dick, and Joey did the same thing where he did the power up, and the guy was down on his knees, oh God, it's excruciating. And then someone else came in and grabbed the new guy's dick. And then Rockstar Spud comes in and grabs that guy's dick. And it was a 5-person chain. And the commentator was like, Joey Ryan is firmly in control here. And Joey did his flex thing again where when everyone else in the chain then was like, oh God, it hurts. And then he flipped all 5 of them.
That's just bizarre.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say to that.
Anything can happen in Japan, John.
Absolutely. Perfect WTF moment because I don't think anything really topped that. I mean, I told James about it, and he was like, well, it finally happened. I think, we were thinking it was probably that would happen
Joey
forever.
Ryan finally got famous because of his genitals. No one's surprised.
Yeah, absolutely. So great peg there. I guess we can move right along to the Sin Cara Award Botch of the Year.
Yeah, Botch of the Year, a.k.a. the Sin Cara Award, and mine is quite memorable. And sadly, it actually involved 2 of my favorite performers in WWE. Becky Lynch gets legit knocked out by an Emma-mite sandwich, and Emma accidentally picks up the win in that Fatal 4-Way match in the week after Brooklyn.
Yes, that's a great pick because we were all shocked by it. I think they recovered as best as they could.
And the only reason I didn't go with the super obvious Eva Marie forgets to kick out is because this is actually something you wouldn't expect because these are actually respected wrestlers in the ring.
Exactly. I think you could almost say the same about my pick, which we'll get to in a second. But yeah, I love yours because I know that created actually quite a bit of buzz in the comment section, on the video when it got uploaded. And yeah, I think it's just a great pick. And it was even better because
anytime somebody looks shocked after winning a match, you know something went wrong.
Exactly. And that certainly happened here. My botch of the year, I'm going to level with everybody. I really had trouble racking my brain about any significant botches this year, so I actually did research. I did the homework. I Googled, what did some people pick out? I wanted to see if I could watch any videos, and I actually found one, and it actually did look bad enough that I felt like it warranted getting this award. And actually, maybe you would want to even watch it while I'm talking about it. Roman Reigns versus Dean Ambrose from Survivor Series, the tournament. Dean Ambrose does a spot where he sunset flip powerbombs Roman Reigns, and it just looks really bad. Like, it didn't come across at all. Like, the power bomb really had no follow through because I think Dean or something must have happened where he slipped, and it looks like he's sitting down, and Roman pretty much fell off the top rope. So it looked pretty bad. And I just felt like, you know what? That looked horrendous enough that that could be my botch of the year. And you're talking about two guys that were part of the Shield, that were grooming Reigns for this spot. Ambrose was such a likable babyface, two quality workers, in different kind of veins. Having a moment like that, yeah, for me, pretty cringe. So that was my botch of the year.
I like that. Yeah, I mean, it's always good when you get to be kind of more obscure and pick something that not a lot of people remember.
Yeah, look it up, guys, because I found it on YouTube. You should be able to do the same. I mean, I thought it looked pretty bad. Like Triple H taking off his imaginary shirt levels of bad. So there you go. I guess spot of the year next.
Yeah, we call this one the "By God, he's broken in half" award. So, John, what was yours?
You know what? I gotta say, pretty easy for me as well on Helico with
Yeah,
the crossbody. I
I
went with
love
the
it.
crossbody. Yep, because it was the very first one. I loved Striker's reaction. That was dope.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was great. Uh,
he's such a mark.
he really is. He really is. But yeah, I didn't expect that at all from Angelico. I love that, they really use their environment to their advantage. I mean, he called it the crossbody. He damn sure deserved it. That's why I'm using that terminology here. Great moment. If you guys haven't seen it, I'm really curious how that rock you're living under is. I'd like to come visit sometime, maybe bring some potato salad, some flowers. But definitely check it out if you haven't seen it. It's amazing and really breathtaking. And that's what I always kind of look for a spot of the year because I just looked at it and I'm like, my first thought is, wow, that was incredible. My immediate thought after that was, check his pulse. I think he's dead.
Yeah,
So yeah, that was my spot of the year.
that was more along my line of thought after the drop kick, the ICBM drop kick,
Right,
because
right.
there was nobody to catch him there. At least with the crossbody, Cisco and Cortez were there to catch him.
Exactly. So I'm curious, what was your spot of the year?
Well, my spot of the year had a little bit less of a soft landing than being able to land on two human flesh bodies. My my spot of the year was Prince Puma and Johnny Mundo all night long going through like 6 tables from the band area.
You know what really hurts about that one was that was the beginning of the end for Johnny Mundo. The beginning of the end of that
It
lead.
was because he was only up at the band area because he was trying to stay away from Puma, and he had a mic and he was telling people like, "Hey everyone, look at the countdown, look at the score, 5-1. I've got this in the bag. Pack your bags and take a trip."
It's like, yeah, it's all. Oh, hey, Puma. What are you doing up here?
He even threw a water bottle at Puma. He disrespected him that much.
Yeah, Johnny Mundo is such a heel. He used a water bottle in a place that had a drought. Like, what an asshole.
That's true too. I forgot about that. Yeah, he did. He dumped it out first too. He made sure that there was nothing left in it before he threw it at him.
I love you, Mundo,
Here,
so, so
Puma, are you
much.
thirsty? I bet everyone here is.
Yes.
It's so messed up though.
Oh God. So
Uh,
yeah, that was a great spot though. Definitely I think the spot of the match for all night long. Just excellent and really great pick on your end. I loved it. I love that Lucha Underground gets both of our nods here, just in different segments altogether. Great stuff.
yeah, absolutely. All right, up next is the spot. Oh, no, that was the spot of the year. So up next is the best move sell of the year, also known as the Ziggles Award, because of course Dolph Ziggler is best known for his over-the-top selling. And mine, I kept it relatively simple, just Prince Puma selling lariats in general, but then specifically, if you want a specific move sell, Cage's lariats.
I love it, dude. I love it. And it's so funny that you picked Puma for your award because I picked him for mine as well. I'm just going to keep the ball rolling. Prince Puma getting border tossed on the apron by Hernandez.
Oh yes! Oh my God, that was
Dude, what I love about both of our winners is that, like, he just always sold those moves like death. Like,
yeah,
just amazing. Prince Puma, excellent. He may be a multi-time Ziggles Award winner with how good he is at selling.
yeah.
We'll see, though. I'm sure the competition will get even stiffer
That
next year.
3-year contract though.
I know, right? So excited. Um, but let's see. Mark out moment of the year. I guess I go first on this one, right?
Absolutely, mark out moment of the year. Let's do it.
I'm gonna be honest. This is a last minute switch.
Ooh,
I had I had an original pick for so long, but now that we're here, I was mulling it over halfway through this commentary, and I thought, you know what? No, I'm going to pick this one. My mark out moment of the year, because we think about what made me pop the most, and I think about our live reactions, Ashton. I
Absolutely.
have to go with Johnny Mundo beating Alberto El Patron at Ultima Lucha.
Oh yes. Oh, I love that. That's a perfect pick for you.
Yeah,
Yes.
last minute switch from what I originally had, and I'm not going to say what I originally had on the off chance that you might have it, so I don't
Well,
want to
no,
potentially
I know
spoil.
for a fact that I don't because you brought it up before.
Okay, yeah, my original one was Seth Rollins cashing in, but you know what? Everybody picked that. Everybody. I saw a lot of people, a lot of lists that were like akin to like a mark out moment have Seth, and I love
This
Seth
feels
to
much
death.
more personalized to you.
Yeah, and that's what I think mark out moment is, because what made us personally mark out? We do live reactions all year round for the big shows. What got the biggest reactions out of us? And if you go back and you watch the video where Mundo beat Patron, I lost my shit.
Yeah.
Like, that was the win I was looking for Mundo to have.
I don't know though, dude. Compare that live reaction to the Rollins cash in, and I think the Rollins cash in might win out.
It might, because I think that was where. No, I don't think that was where I introduced Seth freaking Rollins. But that was
No,
when.
but I don't think your voice has ever gone higher pitched than that.
Yeah, it was huge because I wasn't expecting it and it caught me off guard. It's definitely a runner up. I will say Rollins, but
You know
like for
what? You know
me,
what I'm thinking of too. That was like a real close contender. That wasn't even this year. Was the Ziggler thing last year at Survivor Series?
yes,
You
yeah.
were losing your mind for that.
I was so happy they gave that rub to Ziggler. And you know what too? And I didn't put this as like my last minute switch, even though I was tempted to be honest because I didn't want to repeat. I marked out when Mundo turned heel. I felt like that also worked for mark out moment of the year because I didn't expect it after 6 years. I thought it was just going to be technical for life, and to know that he did it to Alberto El Patron of all people was so satisfying. So
Yeah.
like. When I think of mark out moment of the year, of course it's going to be personal because what made me pop, and I love Set to Death. And you might be right, Ashton. I mean, I'd have to go back and listen to it, and it was great. But I'm Johnny Mundo for life, and knowing that
Yes,
he
you
won,
are.
yeah, knowing that he won at Ultima Lucha, and knowing he won against that worthless sack of crap, just amazing. And then obviously he got unjustly assaulted after the match. I don't know why he didn't press charges,
Yeah.
but
And
he
then,
got the
well, and not
win.
only that, but sexual harassment too, because the dude was spanking Molina on the butt.
He's a pig. He's an absolute pig. He knows no respect. And you know what though? Like I'm even. What made me pick that was I could even remember the lines I said in live reactions, with the Mundo win, because I'm like 3 count, 3 count, and then I let out the scream like like I was so into it. I have to go with that. I love Seth to death, but I've given him enough praise year round leading up to these awards. I gotta give Mundo some love because I feel like he actually got snubbed from a lot of these awards that people probably thought I would give him to him. Yeah, I'm Mundo for life. He's my mark out moment of the year. Him beating Patron and sending his ass back to WWE.
I hope that
Great stuff.
he becomes at least a contender for non WWE Wrestler of the Year next year.
I think if he had the kind of year that he did this year on Lucha Underground, oh, absolutely. Because this was one of the best years of his career. And here's the thing, Ash, I just want to say too, it's not just me saying that. You'd be surprised how many people said Johnny Mundo finally put it together since coming to Lucha Underground. Because he was
Yeah.
the guy that everybody's like, oh, that's the next Shawn Michaels. But they always said he was
Dude,
missing something. Yeah.
it's so funny too because I was actually watching Vince Russo had Conan on a show right before, like a few weeks before the first episode of Lucha Underground, and Conan was like, "Hey man, check this out! It's the trailer for the new show that I'm a part of," and they were watching it, and the first thing that Russo said when Mundo's face showed up on the screen was, "He looks like a movie star."
Yes, you're damn right he does, Russo, and don't you forget it. Just amazing. So I've talked enough about Mundo enough. What was your mark out moment of the year? Because you are going to intrigue me with this, I'm sure. So what
Well,
did you pick?
it's not even from a match like you would expect. My markout moment of the year was a post match segment. It was the Four Horsewomen curtain call in Brooklyn.
Yes, dude.
This like
Yes.
I get goosebumps a lot for certain things, but in wrestling it doesn't really happen very often unless it's like an amazing promo, and that usually like that died out with CM Punk leaving. But this gave me goosebumps, and this almost made me emotional. And I'm not even trying to like get the machismo going and be like, I don't cry, bitch. No, like it's legitimately difficult to make me emotional over stuff like that. But this came close, and this is the closest I've probably been since Eddie's death to getting emotional over something wrestling related. And just seeing these four women after that awesome match that Sasha and Bailey had, and they're all four there, and it's in front of this huge 15,000 person crowd, and everyone is screaming their heads off. And there was a GIF that showed Becky Lynch mouthing, "Oh my God, oh my fucking God," as they're like turning around with the four held up, as they like turn away from the hard camera. And like just the idea that like thinking about how those four women must have felt in that moment, and even when it was happening, not even putting any kind of real analysis into it, the way that I felt when it was happening, it was easily my biggest markout moment of the year. The only other thing that comes close was Muertes beating Puma for the championship.
Completely agree. I mean, dude, this was an exceptional moment. Really cool that you went outside of like a match context. I was even thinking about that too for my markout moment, but I decided that was another runner-up. I forgot to mention the announcement of All Night Long, that whole Dario Cueto Mundo segment. I was freaking out over that. But yours is just excellent because it really was the perfect send-off to a glorious era in NXT.
Yeah.
And the emotion of it. Dude,
And
like,
that's what it really was too, because we haven't seen Charlotte or Becky back since then, other than the one time that they showed up to watch the Iron Man match.
right, right. And like I think what really struck a chord with me and actually made me get emotional, because like you, I ain't gonna do that machismo shit either. I think I even actually did tear up a little bit if I recollect correctly when Sasha goes over to hug Bailey. And they have that embrace and she
Yeah,
breaks the character down and they have the moment because they knew what they did in there. They got the standing O and just they take in the atmosphere and they're like, man, this is incredible. And just an absolutely wonderful moment. For you to put it in the context that you did, I am so glad I got this award for you because I think anything else wouldn't have even come close to doing it justice. Those women, at least in an NXT context, especially with Charlotte, but they're all really amazing down there. Fond memories.
yeah,
And four horsewomen for life. Just
absolutely. All right, so now our next category, we only have three left, so it's the home stretch. Brand of the year, and John, let's be real, there's
yeah.
there's no competition. It's Lucha Underground.
I was gonna do a swerve. I was gonna TNA, but no, Lucha Underground,
I mean, if you
absolutely.
were gonna do a swerve, you could have at least been realistic about it and be like, NXT, and even then, I would have been like, really?
Exactly, guys. uh, Really, us talking to you ever since we started covering Lucha Underground is the justification for this award. How many times have I closed out a show, or I just closed out a show saying, like, watch this, do it, or the Netflix campaign, go, do your part. Lucha Underground is revolutionizing the wrestling business.
I,
They're
I
doing
don't I don't want to go as far as to say it's revolutionizing it yet, but it is a revolutionary product.
It is. It is a revolutionary product, and I think you know what will make it revolutionizing is if it's
Exposure.
prolonged exposure. Yeah, going season to season because we all breathed a sigh of relief when it got a second season. I'm very tentative about quality shows because a lot of
And
them
from
get
what
the
I did
axe.
hear, it got a 2 season deal, so it'll be season 2 and 3. But then we still have to hold our breath for season 4.
Exactly. I'm hoping it can keep it going. I just think here's the
Hopefully, the
thing.
season 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 contract gets done before the previous season even ends, so
Exactly.
we don't have to go
Exactly.
through this shit again, where we have to wait
I
forever.
know, but you know what? That's part of the I guess one of the few downsides of the kind of format they do, which brings me back to the central point. Maybe it's a bit much to say right now they're revolutionizing the business, but they are so distinct from anything else out there, both from their aesthetic to their roster to the fact that they have an off season. I even saw a couple articles saying like I wish WWE would do that. This is something that Lucha Underground is doing right that WWE needs to take notes on because when you have an off season, you know what you have? Anticipation for the next season. You and I, our trailer video, so many people and your feedback guys showed that we're all looking forward to it. We all have that anticipation. Lucha Underground is just laying the groundwork for what wrestling should be like in the next 10, 20 years, just that next generation of what wrestling should be like. And
It's like I
so ahead
said
of its
earlier
time.
with the X-Men analogy, man. It is the next evolution in pro wrestling.
Yeah, without question.
I feel like
Without,
it's
yeah.
like ECW kind of brought that too, where they introduced this whole idea that you don't need to be the best pro wrestler ever to be an entertaining character and to get over, as long as you have a strength. If you have a strength, we can take that, blow it up, minimize everything else, and people will love you for it.
Exactly.
Well, Lucha
And
Underground is introducing the idea that wrestling doesn't have to pretend to be a sport anymore.
exactly. Exactly. It understands its medium and it gets all the mileage out of it that it can.
Yeah.
And I love it for it. Lucha Underground, the place where dreams are made. I got my Mundo heel turn. You got your match of the year and a lot of other great moments on your end. We both love this product to death. If you and I'm saying this sincerely because I know I like to have a lot of fun and stuff, but really, if you haven't watched it yet, January 27th is the debut of season 2. You have time. You still have several weeks. Please go back, watch the first season. If you want something to kind of substantiate your viewing, go back, listen to our reviews. And if not our reviews, you want something more capsized, our
Lucha
rewatch
Rewatch.
series.
Yeah,
You
buddy.
know,
That's why we did it, baby.
that's why we did it. Go back, put in the effort because I promise you guys, the return on that investment is tenfold. It's 100-fold. It's 1,000-fold. It is
It's
something.
infinifold.
It's infinite. I love that. That's a new word. We're doing that. We're doing it. It's just it's incredible. I even have like again family members that I wouldn't really even associate with wrestling. Saying like, wow, this product's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's that's the kind of effect it has on people, and I encourage like all this one because Lucha Underground deserves it, and two, I just sense something with this promotion. I sense that they're on the cusp of something big, as if their first season wasn't big enough and I want as many eyes as possible on it when it happens. So Lucha Underground, easily brand of the year.
I'm still waiting for it to become the first ever wrestling content to be original content to be on Netflix.
Yes,
That's my thing.
yes.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Most anticipated 2016 WWE main roster debut. I'm going to go first on this one since you went first for Markout Moment of the Year and we had the same brand of the year. My most anticipated 2016 WWE main roster debut. I'm going to admit that my choice for this might not even actually debut on the main roster in 2016. It's mostly wishful thinking, okay?
Okay.
Jordan and Gable.
Nice. I'm not gonna complain about that.
Yeah. And
Amazing.
really to me, I feel like they need to be a package because if you just introduce Jason Jordan, he's going to flop. What does he do that any other guy that's big and athletic can't do?
Exactly. No, I completely agree with you.
If you just introduce Gable, I don't think he'll get as over. I think that he's got a better shot by himself than Jordan, but I don't think he'll get as over without that big, intimidating athlete to give him that credibility because he's small.
Right. Again, I agree with you. Yeah, we're
So
on the
I
same
think
page here.
that when these guys do debut on the main roster, it needs to be as a tag team. And just to be clear, my runner-up for this was Enzo and Cass. I love those guys. I wanted to see them debut at the Brooklyn show that we just got past. And of course they didn't, but I want Enzo and Cass, I want them to do it at the Royal Rumble now. I feel like their time is now. And the WWE keeps on, you say fish or cut bait. They keep on fishing and fishing and fishing, but they're not pulling anything in, damn it.
Yeah, they're not. And I think it really says a lot that Jordan Gable actually, unseated like Enzo and Cass for this award because I know how you love those guys. I love those guys. Everybody loves those guys.
Yeah.
But I agree. Like that's wishful thinking on my part too.
My
I'm glad
runner
they
up for
actually took
this
the lead with
award,
this.
and the only reason I'm saying that I have another runner up is because I know you didn't pick this guy, was Baron Corbin, because just when he gets to the main roster, I think it's going to be great. But I think I enjoy his work in NXT almost too much for me to anticipate him going up to the main roster.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you there. The moment he comes to the main roster, heads are going to roll.
Because
I think
they do
yeah.
such a great job of almost protecting him in NXT, where he has this undefeated streak. He's allowed to say things about indie companies and stuff like that without any kind of repercussions, and Vince getting in his ear like, "Hey, no other wrestling companies exist but us, Mark or
Yeah.
whatever." And yeah, I'm almost scared that they're going to find a way to ruin Baron Corbin on the main roster. But so far, I just love his work in NXT. But really, Jordan and Gable are the ones that I think are going to be huge when they hit the main roster.
I completely agree with you.
So now
I'm
your most anticipated WWE debut in 2016.
Samoa Joe.
And John, I'm glad that you picked this for one reason, but I'm also kind of confused for another reason. I'm glad you picked this because I wouldn't have even thought about Samoa Joe in this category. Like I didn't even consider him in my list of options, and that being the reason that confused me is because I don't even know if they brought him into NXT with the intention of him ever ever being on the main roster. I feel like he might just be like an NXT only talent, which is kind of what I thought about Rhino and James Storm at first. But then, of course, Rhino had a month worth of appearances on Raw, so I don't even know what their plan is at this point.
You know, I could honestly, I'll take it one step further. I could see Samoa Joe pulling a Kevin Owens and feuding with John Cena this year.
That would be amazing.
2016. Yeah, I could easily see that. I
I
think
could see
Joe's the
him choking Cena out at least once, and then Cena gets
yeah,
all of his wins back.
and yeah, and that's just it though, Ashton. Like we laugh about it, and I know you were being serious too, but like you're absolutely right because I feel like Samoa Joe is the perfect type of Cena opponent.
Yeah.
He's big, he's aggressive, he's imposing, he's an obstacle.
And really, we can afford for him to have a smaller shelf life because, he shows up, he dominates people, he challenges Cena, he wins a match, then loses a bunch. Then, if they really want to, they can pull him right back down to NXT and say, well, he's been on a little bit of a losing streak, so we figured we would kind of bring him back down here and see how he fares against these guys.
Right. You know, my runner up personally, of course, because I think he's probably felt like a runner up forever. Finn Balor, because like, when are you gonna come up, dude? Like, when are you gonna do your thing?
I'm not
But
even anticipating his main roster debut though, because even he comes right out and says like showing up on the main roster from and leaving NXT would be a step back for my career.
yeah, so like that he's not really thinking about main roster anytime soon.
Yeah.
But as far as I know, Samoa Joe hasn't made similar comments. I'm envisioning the stare down between him and John Cena, and I really think they're gonna feud in 2016. That's my bold prediction. You could say is
I
we're gonna
hope
get
you're
a
right.
Cena
I
Samoa
hope
Joe
you're
feud.
right.
So yeah, main roster debut, Samoa Joe.
All right, so now let's talk about, and this next category is our final category, most anticipated 2016 debut, and this is specifically somebody that is going to be debuting for a brand, whether it's NXT, Lucha Underground, New Japan, ROH, TNA, whatever. Even if you want to pull out another or a WWE guy that hasn't been in NXT, like maybe they signed Nakamura and he bypasses NXT and goes straight to the main roster, that kind of thing. Just a debut in general, though, John. Who's your most anticipated?
I think everybody's gonna like this choice. My most anticipated 2016 debut is Athena.
Aha!
Uh,
Yes.
what I like about this, I'm going to be very forthcoming with everybody like I've been, throughout this entire thing. I haven't seen any of her matches. I really have seen diddly of what Athena is capable of. But I think it was you, Ashton, that showed me her finisher, like a montage of her finisher, like one of those YouTube clips. Anybody that can do a top rope stunner, instantly over. Like, I think Athena is going to come in and she is going to set the world on fire. Now, I'm hoping
I
that
bet
they
you
don't.
anything that in the 2016 calendar year, she will be on the Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast.
Really? Yeah, I'd
Dude,
like
she
that
uses a
actually.
top rope stunner as her finisher. Of course it's going to catch his attention.
I wonder what he'll say about it on Twitter because I know he hates Cena's springboard stunner,
Well,
so we'll
yeah,
see
but
if he's anyone.
it's her finisher, though.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It is a
People
put-away
aren't going to be
maneuver.
kicking out of it like they do the springboard stunner.
I am hoping that they don't Itami her and they like build up that move, but if they do, she's got to use that move when she wins the NXT Women's Championship, and you heard that right because I
Do
do
you think
think
she's going to win
yeah.
it in 2016?
I'm gonna say no to that. I think early 2017 she's gonna win the belt.
Okay.
But 2016 she'll lay a lot of ground down. I'm really excited for this. One, because I don't know her, and I think that actually makes it apropos in terms of anticipation because you just don't know what you're gonna get. And two, the first time she hits that top rope stunner, whether they're holding it back or they're just letting her use it as a part of her repertoire, crowd is gonna lose their minds.
Yeah.
I think, we've really been wondering about this next generation of women holding down the fort now that the four horsewomen, save for Bayley, have moved on to other things. I think Athena is going to make a great contribution to that movement. I can't wait to see her. This was definitely a pleasure to give to her, and I was really happy I did.
And it's a great coincidence that both of our most anticipated 2016 debuts are women, because mine is actually a Lucha Underground debut, and we already talked a ton about it on Tuesday. Cheerleader Melissa debuting for Lucha Underground as Marty the Moth's sister.
Yes, yes. That is going to be epic, dude. Absolutely epic.
That's the one that I'm looking most forward to. I know I'm sure there are people that are like, oh, Rey Mysterio in the Lucha Underground, but to me, Cheerleader Melissa is somebody that I've been following since she was freaking Raisha Saeed or whatever it was in TNA. And
Yeah.
she's just, to me, she's one of those people. I think Velvet Sky is kind of a lesser version of this, but she's one of those people who's like, she's really attractive. Like she is model hot, and she's amazing in the ring. How has she never even, been considered by WWE? Like, how does that happen? How do you overlook her?
It's really a head scratcher to me because just the idea that she's about, getting ready to splash on the scene in Lucha Underground,
To
I
me,
can't
to me,
wait.
the fact that you would rather pick Dana Brooke up off of the powerlifting circuit than sign someone like cheerleader Melissa or even, like I said earlier, Velvet Sky. To me, like Velvet Sky is more just for the appearance because she's model hot and she's competent in the ring. Cheerleader Melissa is incredibly attractive and really just top notch, like literally probably one of the best, like top 3 female workers in the world, kind of good in the ring.
Yeah, man, my God, that's high praise, especially with all the women we've talked about in these awards. Like,
Oh,
that's
dude,
saying a lot.
she to me she's on a similar level to Asuka as far as in ring
Yeah,
goes.
wow, wow.
And
No, I love that you picked her.
we've already said like yeah, Becky's good and Sasha's good and Bailey's good and Charlotte's good and Emma and all these people, but Asuka's on a level above them just as far as in ring work goes. And I think cheerleader Melissa is either on that level or maybe even a little bit above that level.
Quick question, because this is our final award, and then this is looking to the future, 2016.
Yeah.
Did you have any runners up, or was this just like
Well,
your
I
clear
think I
cut
already
away
did
winner?
mention Rey Mysterio. He would probably be a
Right.
runner-up, and then really Rich Swann was the only other
Yeah.
person that I even considered. And oh, you know what?
Yeah.
No, Biff Busick in NXT,
That's right. Yeah, Biff Busick in NXT for you.
dude.
Rich Swann
Watching
NXT. Yeah.
him in that 6-way or that 6-man tag guerrilla warfare match, oh my god, his fire, his intensity is next level. He's gonna light the world on fire in NXT, I think.
Yeah. Rich
And he
Swann is my
actually
runner up.
recently tweeted
Yeah.
something about the demon, so he might be gunning for Finn.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Like, shut up and take my money right away. But yeah,
right.
Rich was my runner up. Obviously, I have the personal experience of Swan, seeing him in Force One. I know the quality worker he can be, whether it's comedy or even put him in an intense feud. I just hope that it isn't another Solomon Crow situation where they saddle him with something they just can never really get it quite off the ground.
Well, I
I
think
think he's done
that's the thing with Solomon Crow. Like when he was Sammy Callahan, even he never really came off as the WWE type. But Swan and Busick both, I think,
yeah.
they're not necessarily like the prototype, but they're. I think they even fit more of the NXT prototype than Sammy did.
Yeah, yeah, I think Swan's got that larger than life personality, like very comical, loves to have fun.
And
I think he'll make
Busick,
a great
good
entrance.
God! Like if Prince Devitt can make it in NXT, I think Biff Busick is gonna kill everybody.
Oh, yeah, I mean, like you said, gonna set the world on fire. And then you look at our 2 main picks, Athena, who I think is just gonna do amazing things, and then cheerleader Melissa and Lucha Underground. What's her Lucha name again? Didn't you find that out?
I don't remember it. I know it's Mari something, but I don't know what it is for sure.
Yeah, Marisa Powers or something like that. She's gonna do amazing things too, and I love the praise you heaped on her. So 2016 is looking very promising.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this is a record-setting commentary. We went for 5 hours.
Holy balls!
Luckily, we broke it up into 3 parts. The first part's like 49 minutes, and then a 2-hour chunk, and then this will be another 2-hour chunk. But still, I had no intention of us going this long, but you know what? I'm glad we did because obviously we were holding a lot back. We had a lot of things to say, a lot to get off our chest, a lot of things to talk about in the world of wrestling this year, not just this week, which is usually what we do. We're usually TWitWoW this week in the world of wrestling. This was TWitWoW because it's TY this year in the world of wrestling. So this was amazing. I mean, 5 hours, record setting. I am so sorry to everyone that wants to listen to all of this because this is a hell of a mountain to climb. If you did, first of all, if you managed to listen to this entire commentary, props to you, man. Or
Yeah,
woman. Woman. I mean, we have female viewers too. Props to you and thank you so much for the dedication that you have to set that much time aside, even if you just pull us up in a separate tab and browse another website while you're listening to us. That's
I
still
would not blame you.
that is a lot. Well, that's kind of what I assume everybody does at this point. That's even
Yeah,
how, like, if I ever go back and listen to our commentaries, that's what I do. I can't just keep
same.
the screen pulled
Yeah.
up and just stare at one image. But
Yeah.
that aside, yeah, thank you so much. That is dedication. That is loyalty. That is amazing to us, to me, John. I don't want to speak for you, but I'm sure you feel the same way.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like
Yeah.
I've said consistently, you guys are amazing. Anybody that stuck it through to the
Hey,
very end,
let's do
thank
this.
you.
Let's do this. If you manage to sit through this entire video, I'm not going to do that lame thing where I tell you to put a comment saying, well, yeah, stay till the end. Tweet me. Tweet me saying that you managed to stay through this whole thing and add some kind of another comment in there, like I enjoyed it, or I disagreed with something, or I agreed with everything, or whatever. Add in just a little comment there, just to make it a little bit more original than just saying, "Hey, I listened to the whole thing. Thumbs up."
Yeah, guys, get at us. Really, too, I mean, depending on how far you guys want to go, I'd love in the comments if you guys would give your own personal awards out, like tell us who did you think was this, that, or the other.
Yes.
Let's really have a conversation, guys. This isn't just
We
about
have,
us,
here's the
it's
thing, we
about
have
all of us.
54 awards. 54 awards. In our first video, we did 9. In our second video, I want to say we did 18 or 19. And then in our third video, we did 30 or so. Um, if you are paying attention this whole time, go through each video and listen. And when we say the name of our award, write it down and then post a comment with all 54 of your awards if you can. Do obviously do like the first 9 in the first video, and then follow along so that you don't have all 54 in the same comment. But I think that'll be interesting. I want to know how many people are willing to kind of put in the work that we did and really come up with all these awards for themselves. Or, I mean, hell, if you just agree with all of our awards and you just want to change like 3 or 4 different ones per video, tell us that too.
I mean, I could definitely use the ego stroke, people. Don't be shy.
Yeah,
Just be
John
like,
John loves ego strokes.
it's
And
true.
it's only him. I hate him. I'm not the big fan of him at all. And of
If any
course,
of you
this
guys
is this is me being sarcastic, in case you couldn't tell.
I mean, if any of you guys want to come up and be like, that John guy, he talks a lot of sense about Kevin Owens. I just,
And Adam Cole.
and Adam Cole, or that Ashton guy, he's so intelligent with how he, really comes about his picks. Like, I could really dig that guy. We would not be opposed. We would not be averse to such comments. But in all seriousness, guys, what a great way to cap the year off. I look forward to embracing all of 2016. And yes, that does include the return of TwitWoW Raw reviews. It's going to be a lot of
Oh,
fun.
the 11th. And I figured out why it would be the 11th and not the 4th, because the 4th is the Dome show, Tokyo Dome.
Ah, okay.
So we're
Okay.
gonna be that's I mean that's a 4-hour video right there. We're gonna be doing live reactions to Wrestle Kingdom 10 on the 4th.
Yeah, buddy, it's gonna be insane.
Yeah, so that's going to be interesting. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a treat. It is literally 10 minutes until midnight our time, so I'm cutting this off right about as we're going to get to the New Year celebration. I hope that you all enjoyed your 2015. 2015 was decent for me. I know that there are a lot of people that have been saying that 2015 was a terrible year, but
Yeah,
Lucha Underground exists, so how bad could the year have really been?
I know. And if you haven't gotten in your life yet again, you still have time.
That's
There's
your
still plenty
mistake.
of time.
I mean, we've been preaching from the hilltops. If you're ignoring us, that's on you.
Exactly. The same way when the child's like, why didn't I get this for Christmas? Well, suck less. But you guys don't suck. I know it. I know our message just hasn't reached there yet. You have an internet connection. Use it. Use the force.
We
Go
are
out and
lucha
launch it.
evangelists, and we will preach the word of Mil Muertes
Exactly. If you're just like,
and
please,
Dario Cueto
and Dario Cueto, and Prince Puma, and everybody.
and
Why couldn't
Johnny
everybody say
Rudo.
and Johnny Rudo? Yes! Yes!
What's your
I'm gonna
best?
eat out the souls of eagles. But anyway, just
That
kind of
was a
scale it
weird
back a
thing
little
to
bit.
say. Is this Lord of the Rings now?
You guys are incredible. We hope you enjoyed this. I freaking loved it. Worth every hour spent. I can't wait to do it again next year. So, all right. Love you guys.
And we will see everybody on Saturday for our Prince Puma Luchador Spotlight.